Hey guys, welcome to Becca Scoops Live. I hope you guys are having a great, what is today, Wednesday? It's June 10th. I know that. I know today is June 10th. It's kind of the anniversary of the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard. We're going to go over a lot of stuff. Basically, we're going to go over Gypsy Rose Blanchard's interview with this Paul Brunson guy. And let me bring that up. This guy here. There he is. Look, he put Gypsy in the little his header for his YouTube channel. He's included Gypsy. He's included her. I can't make it up. It happened. Yeah. And it's an over 2-hour interview. It's like 2 hours and 24 minutes or something. We're going to get through as much as we can. Of course, I'm going to bring all the receipts that Mr. Brunson didn't bring. So you guys have that to look forward to. But before I get to that, and before I get to just to welcome somebody, let me just welcome all of you guys. Welcome, welcome. And I want to give a huge shout out to my mods. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are the best mods, I swear. And Mitch and I really appreciate everything you guys do for our channel. I want to start out before we get into all of this, because it is the anniversary of Dee Dee's demise, her murder. I got this little clip off of TikTok. It is, some of you may know Apple Charlotte. She made this little tribute to Dee Dee. And I thought that I would, use it today to start out this live stream, since this is the anniversary. So if you guys will just, it's kind of a moment of silence kind of a thing, but I think it's a beautiful tribute to her. So let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and bring that up.
They called her a monster, a mother of deceit, twisted her love into a crime she couldn't beat. But no one asked the questions, no one tried to see the reasons behind her choices, her layered history. It's easy to judge when the truth stays untold, but what if the story is more than the mold? Justice for Dee Dee, a name wrapped in shame, but was she the villain, or just taking the blame for a daughter in need? She fought to survive. Justice for Dee Dee, let her truth come alive.
Okay, I thought that was so beautiful. Thanks to Apple Charlotte for that. It was really, really nice way to start off this live stream. Kind of a somber moment, but it is a somber day. And it is. I don't think it's by accident that this interview, dropped yesterday. I think Gypsy always wants something to, how she is with dates. And yeah, I couldn't believe it when I was watching it. I had to watch it in in segments because I was like shouting, no, 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 wait a minute, ask her this, do this, do this. It's really hard to watch. So I'm glad you guys are going to be here with me as we go through it. And like I said, I'm going to bring all the receipts. I've worked really hard on this to bring all the receipts that I've had, over the last 2 years to counter what she's saying. All right. Before I do that, though, before we start that, let me go ahead and let me get to some of your give some shout outs here to want to shout out Rhonda, who's become a member. Welcome, Rhonda. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And Honey Fleur 420, I love you. Thank you. You've been a member for 13 months. Rest in peace, Dee Dee. Absolutely. Absolutely, Honey Fleur. And next up, Boho Hobo 2317. Also, welcome. Welcome, Boho Hobo. Welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. And another favorite, Shazy Wolf. Shazy Wolf, love you. Thank you. Member for 13 months. Remembering Dee Dee today, the actual victim, sending love, Becca. Thank you, Shazy Wolf. That's beautiful. Thank you. And one more, Main Chick Carrie also is coming in with thoughts of love and peace for Dee Dee, $1.99. Thank you, Main Chick Carrie. Thank you for being one of my mods. I really appreciate that. One more, we've got SD Anna, another favorite of our channel, pound 99. Sweet Dee Dee, thinking of you a little more today. Absolutely, SD Anna, absolutely. All right. Before I forget, guys, let me go ahead and get your comments. Get your comments up on. Let me take that one off. Let me get the comments going for the replay crew. There you guys go. And we're going to go ahead and begin now this interview. This was. Whew, let's just go ahead and start. Where I start this at, you guys, I didn't start in the very, very beginning where she talks about, how Rod and Dee Dee got together and all that. I start where she's talking about being 5 years old. Okay, so that's where we're going to start it. I got it at speed, 1.5 times speed. So we're going to get through about an hour and 24 minutes of this. And hopefully, I'll try to get through the whole thing, but I know for sure I can get through an hour and 24 minutes of it. So here we go.
I felt like she was my protector. The childhood seemed fairly normal because the first 5 years of my life, my grandmother was still alive. And I honestly feel like when my grandmother passed away, my mom lost a part of herself that at least was keeping her together. Because at the age of 5, I was still able to be around my cousins. I have a very large family, lots of cousins. I have 2 aunts, uncles. And then when my grandmother passed away, my grandfather got remarried. My mother did not approve of the new relationship, and everybody took sides.
Okay.
And then from there, my mom and I started moving around.
Interesting. And was that because you can no longer live in the house?
Correct. From what I understand, my uncle addressed all the things that my mom was doing at that point.
Okay, I know she says this, and I just want to say this whole thing about Dee Dee moving around everywhere, it was because she was poor. She got kicked out of this house. Her mom dies. She was living in the house at the time, and then the brother said that the house was left to him, and then he comes and kicks Dee Dee out of the house. Now, whether they have this conversation or not about Gypsy really wasn't the reason that Dee Dee was kicked out of the house. But Gypsy wants you guys to think that the reason they were kicked out of the house was because her mom was mistreating her. I don't find this truthful.
He was like, "Why isn't Gypsy in school? You need to put her in school." I really just don't think. And then from there, my mom and I started moving around.
Interesting. And was that because you can no longer live in the house?
Correct. From what I understand, my uncle addressed all the things that my mom was doing at that point. He was like, "Why isn't Gypsy in school? You need to put her in school." I really just don't think she's as sick as what you claim. She's perfectly fine. She plays with my kids, and he just put her on blast.
I see it. So what was your mother doing or claiming at that time?
Well, at the age of 5, I was still seeing many doctors. The list of ailments was not as long as it was obviously later on in life, but I had supposedly a seizure disorder. Supposedly I had leukemia, hearing impaired, vision impaired, muscle weakness. So all of these.
I don't find that Dee Dee was listing all of those things when she was 5 years old. We know that Gypsy was born with a microdeletion. They didn't know it was a microdeletion, but she was born with her microcephaly, a small head. So at birth or within the first few months of her life, they diagnosed microcephaly. Okay, we know that. I don't have to have the medical records to know that. That's just a thing, right? So they told Dee Dee, your daughter's got a chromosome issue. We don't know what it is, but she has it. And we know that because of Rod and Mommy, Dead, and Dearest. He says, Dee Dee was telling me she's got a chromosome issue. Well, yeah, Dee Dee was telling the truth. Okay.
These things, I was still in GI problems, gut problems. So all of this was happening even at the age of 5.
What about, do you remember, or what you've heard, what did the other family members, especially who were living with you, what did they think?
The thing about my mother's side of the family is they don't really recognize mental health problems. Obviously in the 90s, 80s, 90s, mental health problems was shrugged off and considered, you're weird. They put you in a box in a category that you're just crazy.
Yes.
Instead of it being addressed with therapy. And so that's the kind of box they just put my mom into. Even, her own family put her in that box of like, oh, she's just weird. She's just crazy. And so it's like, I think that they had a hint that, yeah, this is not normal, but there's a lot of things that was going on in that family that was not normal.
Okay. Now, you mentioned there, and this is a term that I didn't know until doing the research for you.
Here we go.
So from what I understand is yes, your mom wasn't weird or crazy. She suffered from a disorder. So this is this FDIA, or Munchausen, FDIA, fabricated or induced illness, or FII. And it's a severe form of child abuse or mental illness where a caregiver fakes or causes symptoms or illness in a child to gain attention or sympathy, right? And it's previously was known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Correct.
So from what I understand, this is what your mother suffered from. And I've seen reports that have said that she has one of the most, historically, one of the most notorious sufferers of this disease.
Correct.
And she...
Correct? She says correct? No, okay. All right. Now I'm mad. Now this is where I first get mad, okay? This is where I first get mad with this guy, because I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Where are you getting this information? I know exactly where he's getting it because it's the rabbit hole I went down, right? So we're going to go ahead and go over this really fast. In fact, we know that Gypsy herself, let me bring this up. Gypsy herself talked about how her mom didn't have it. Right here. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm a controversial topic and some blah, 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 blah. My mother had never been formally diagnosed with Munchausen by proxy. Gypsy herself writes that here. Okay. Of course, she goes on to say, however, experts strongly believe. Who are the experts? Okay. Well, I know you guys know most of this, but we're just going to go on the record here with this stuff. Okay. Wait, before I show you this, I want to show you guys. Here is the first article. Here is the first mention of Munchausen by proxy in this case. If you notice, this is the Springfield News Leader, the local paper over there. Okay. The date of this, June 17th, 2015, 7 days after the murder. Couple of days after, I can't remember what day they were arrested, but Gypsy's under arrest at this point. But 7 days after the murder, 7 days after the murder. And this is the first mention anywhere of Munchausen by proxy. And in that article, it states, so droves of captivated readers step forward like amateur sleuths with this diagnosis. They're talking about social media. They're talking primarily about Facebook, okay, where this was being knocked around in Facebook groups. That's where this first originated at, amateur sleuths, okay? And then what happened? Well, you guys know most of this, but just really quick, let's go over it. The number one expert, Dr. Mark Feldman, right? What did Feldman say? Feldman has never examined Gypsy Blanchard. And of course, he's never examined Dee Dee. He's never examined anything. He hasn't seen any of the medical records. But he says he feels comfortable knowing this case that she had it. But what did we also find out about Dr. Feldman? Well, Dr. Feldman made a bad mistake, right? And in fact, I hope we're going to get him on the record pretty soon. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Dr. Feldman, this was from the thought catalog. Dr. Feldman thought first that Gypsy was ill. He said at first, I didn't think it was Munchausen. And he says, I didn't think it was Munchausen because of her appearance. I thought, well, she must be ill. And if she's ill, well, then it's probably not Munchausen. She's got some health issues. So he was like going to back off of that diagnosis. But then he was told, no, she's perfectly healthy. And when Dr. Feldman was wrongly told Gypsy was perfectly healthy, that's when he went ahead and said, oh, okay, all right, then it's Munchausen. That's where this came from. That's where this started. That's how it started. Dr. Feldman got bad information. Okay. And then what happens? Then it's put on repeat. Once Dr. Feldman says it, other people start opining. It starts getting spread via the internet. And well, it's in all the articles, that's how things get spread. It's sad, but it's true. But we went back to find the origins. How did Dee Dee get misdiagnosed with this after her death? Well, I just showed you how. And Gypsy knows it because Gypsy wrote, I know she's never been formally diagnosed. Yeah, Gypsy knows it, but she sits here and she shuts her mouth when this guy says, oh, well, she has one of the worst historical cases of it. And Gypsy's like, right? Okay. Let's go on.
Took this out on you.
Correct.
Okay. So the family doesn't know what's happening. They just say that she's weird.
Correct.
But as you mentioned, there's other things happening in the house. Can you talk about what was happening in the house so we understand the full environment?
I mean, as far as, my mother goes, she was supposed to be on medication. She was supposed to be on medication because she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Okay. Now, I'll tell you guys a funny story. When I was first watching this, and I'm at this point watching it, my son, the police officer, comes home and he's sitting down, and he's like looking at me. He goes, what are you watching? I'm going, watching this interview with Gypsy Rose. And it's right at this part, right? Now I'm going to show you what she says. And then I'm going to tell you what he said. Okay. I'm going to tell you what my son said. All right.
And I remember there was a therapist that would come to the house, a counselor. And then when we moved from Louisiana to Missouri, she stopped seeing the therapist and she stopped being on medication. I remember, growing up with a mom that said, do you hear that? I hear voices telling me that there's 7 voices and 6 of them doesn't like me. Do I see that? Seeing things that aren't there. And
okay, my son hears this and she says she's got bipolar, right? My son, he's a deputy sheriff, right? But they have to have a little knowledge, they work, because a lot of times 5150 people take them to the psych ward and stuff like that, right? And so he hears Gypsy say, oh, my mom was hearing voices. My mom said there was 6 or 7 people. Do you hear the voices? And my son goes, that's not bipolar. And I go, no kidding. No kidding. That's more like, and then he goes, schizophrenia. And I go, right. So what is she talking about? What is she talking about? It's just this made up stuff. This, I don't know where she came up with this at, but no, that's not what happens with bipolar. Okay. No. All right. That's not one of the symptoms.
And I didn't see these things. So, it would kind of break my mom's heart when I would be like, no.
And she's saying she saw things, she's saying auditory and visual hallucinations. Schizoaffective disorder, which is kind of bipolar and schizophrenia combined. It's called schizoaffective disorder, possibly. But then you know what? If Dee Dee had schizoaffective disorder or if she had schizophrenia, she would have ended up in a mental ward at some point in her life, for seeing things and hearing things. She wouldn't been able to function properly. It's just crazy.
No, I don't see anything. So it's definitely a lot of that manipulation. Growing up, my mom was like, your dad wants nothing to do with you. He has his family now. He's remarried. He's got new kids. They're his favorite. He doesn't love you and he doesn't love me. But I love you. I'm the one that's here day in and day out. Appreciate me,
I see it.
So it's a lot of that. And growing up, I didn't have a high self-esteem. Not because my mom didn't tell me I was pretty, but more so because I wasn't allowed to form my own identity and feel confident in myself, discovering who I am.
I see it. And even on that point too, where you mentioned your mother, in essence, was isolating you, right, from your father. I've noticed that this is a standard maneuver of abusers, is the social isolation of the person that they're targeting.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see a mother do that to a child. So now,
how is she isolating her? Where are the examples of this isolation? And I want to tell you guys something. Because I've listened to this like twice through, almost 3 times all the way through. The guy was going by the memoir. He's going by the memoir. I'm telling you.
If you're willing to talk about it, is that when you're talking about there's lots of stuff happening in the house.
All right, I think this is where they talk about this alleged sexual abuse. I'm gonna skip over this part. I really don't have much to say about that, so we're gonna fast forward it to the next part. Right? Yeah.
6-month stint in the hospital.
Okay.
And that's when they put the feeding tube in.
Oh, here we go.
And you can't recall how you got to the hospital.
My mom drove us, but
You can't recall how you got to the hospital. He doesn't mean like how you, like what was going on in your body to make you go to the hospital. She's going to say, my mom drove me. It's like, no, that's not what he was. But here we're going to have a lot to say. You guys know we're going to have a lot to say.
I don't remember what the initial appointment was for.
Okay. But you ended up then going in for 6 months, which, I mean,
6 months. Guys, do you know anyone that stays in an acute care hospital? I'm not talking about a hospice. I'm not talking about a nursing home. I'm talking about an acute care hospital, a big hospital for 6 months. That does not happen. Okay? You don't stay in an acute care hospital for 6 months. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what Gypsy was talking about here. It was about a month's long stay. But before I get into all of that, and I'm going to go quick because I know I've talked about this before, so I don't want to belabor any of these points, but I do want to make the points because people are going to watch this and listen to what she says, and then I'm going to come in with the receipts. Okay. So let's hear what else she says.
That's significant.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And you were given a feeding tube. And then you were placed in a wheelchair.
Yeah, so the wheelchair happened. There's so many different stories that my mom told different people. So the initial story that my mom told to family was I went into the hospital. Then upon having surgery, I had a seizure on the operating room table that left me paralyzed. That was the first story.
Okay.
So, of course, growing.
Or was that your first story? Because we know the video, right? The video. I've got the video. Let's keep going, though.
Yep, that's what I thought. I knew that I could walk. I just want to make that clear. I knew that I could walk.
Well, good for you.
So then she goes on to tell other people, well, she was paralyzed, and doctors, mind you, tell doctors that I was paralyzed since birth.
Oh, wow.
Even though there's pictures and there's
okay. This is a very gray area. Okay. In some of the medical records, there is a couple of the nursing notes where it does say Gypsy was paralyzed from birth. I think I found one that said that. There are different levels of the walking issue, but this is a complex issue. We know the walking issue is a complex issue because she had the fiber atrophy. She had muscle issues. There was some issues with her muscles. Remember, and I don't have it up here in the studio, but I know a lot of you guys will remember the cheerleading when she's a little girl as a cheerleader, right? And all the girls are doing the cheers and she's rolling around on the floor in the background. There was something going on with her and her walking and her, and I'm not saying it was like, I don't know if she was tired or if she was acting out or what was going on. But Gypsy was not a normal little girl. Okay. There was, I think both psychological and physical things going on with her. All right.
Family. And there's all these people that had seen me grow up walking.
Right. So then what I believe is hard to understand is how do doctors then believe her enough to give you the feeding tube, to give you the wheelchair? How were they fooled?
My mom had a very, her personality.
I can't believe she does. I can't believe she thinks that she's going to let this guy think her mom fooled doctors to give her the feeding tube with all of the documentation we have about how the feeding tube got placed. I'll just pause it here. Going to go real quick over some of that documentation, okay, of why she got the feeding tube. And I know a lot of you guys know this just as well as I do, but just for the purposes of this video, so that if some new person comes around and watches it, they can go, wow, right? And it's good to go over anyways, because we're rebuffing everything that she's saying that is not true. Okay. So first off, what happened? Okay. Gypsy, for a month, she was put into what's called a feeding hospital. It's part of a regular hospital. It's not a separate hospital. It's like a team of doctors, nurses, psychologists, specialists that take care of kids who are having feeding issues. Okay. Now, the right here on the right-hand side, you can say it says a pediatric hospital stay for a feeding program typically ranges from 1 to 4 weeks. So no, she was not anywhere in the hospital for 6 months. I don't know why she said that. Sometimes I don't know why she lies about certain things or just says things. I don't know. It was probably approximately about a month. Now, on the left-hand side, they go into kind of a detail about what happened. Okay. Gives her different diagnosis. And then it says, hearing impaired, microcephaly, seizure disorder, who has a history of gastroesophageal reflux disorder and severe feeding aversion. Gypsy is so fearful of eating that we had to place a percutaneous endoscopic PEG tube, for nutritional purposes. Prior to the PEG placement, Gypsy, and here's the part, had undergone intensive evaluation and attempted treatment. Attempted treatment meaning the treatment didn't work. They attempted to treat her, but they couldn't get her to eat properly. There was a problem, okay? So attempted treatment for her feeding aversions by the feeding hospital. She was not able to consume enough calories by mouth to ensure her survival. How was Dee Dee making that happen for a month in the hospital? How was Dee Dee doing that? How was she fooling all the specialists? And I want to tell you guys another thing. She had a swallow study. She had a swallow study while she was there. Okay. And we'll get to that in a minute. She had a swallow study with iodine while she was there. And she failed the swallow study also. And so what? She's 8 years old. She weighs 36 pounds and she's not consuming enough calories to ensure her survival. That's why, Gypsy, they had to put the feeding tube in you. Your mother didn't use her Southern charm to charm up the doctors to put a tube down your, in your stomach. I just, now, has that, and I've shown this before too, has that happened in other Munchausen cases? Like that little Olivia Gant case that I've showed in different videos where the mother was able to get a tube placed. But what was the difference with Olivia Gant? All of her tests were perfect, where Gypsy's swallow study was not good. Okay. She had difficulty swallowing all consistencies of foods and fluids. Gypsy has a tongue thrust issue. She has a reverse swallow issue. I'm going to show you guys a video of that. Okay. I know I found another one that we can take a look at that really shows the swallowing problem that Gypsy still has to this day. It's just she's larger now. Her mouth is, to consume calories. All right. And I think she got scared, not scared, like she would eat mashed potatoes because it was soft and it would go down easy. But she has that high arch palate, and she has these swallowing difficulties, right? Okay, I'm going to bring up this video really quick because I don't think I've ever shown you guys this one. It's Gypsy after she got out of prison, so mostly present day, trying to eat a donut. Okay. And I've got it in slow motion. And guys, I'm not doing this to shame her or humiliate her in any way. This is specifically for medical purposes to show the reverse swallow issue that proves she still has this issue. Okay. That caused her as a little girl to get a feeding tube placed. And here we go. I want you to notice when her tongue comes out, okay? And watch like the jaw, how the jaw, there's a lot of jaw motion, and the tongue's going to come out, all right? There. Okay, did you see it? It's called a reverse swallow. So like when you and I swallow, I can close my mouth. You guys can do it right now. Close your mouth and swallow. There's no movement of my jaws, right? My tongue is going back. When she swallows, her tongue juts out of her mouth. She has a reverse swallow. And that's what I'm showing you guys here, okay? And what happens when someone has that issue when they're little? Lots of bad things can happen, okay? Drooling, excess saliva happens from a tongue thrust and a reverse swallow. That is, you can Google it yourself, okay? Tongue thrust, reverse swallow, and put saliva. And it's going to say excessive saliva production from this mechanical problem with her mouth. Not Oragel, okay? And I showed you right there, she still has the issue to this day. Now, I don't know if, once you swallow that way, I guess you could, get physical therapy to maybe help you learn to swallow a different way. But basically, it's because of her high arch palate. Her tongue can't make a seal. You know how when you swallow, your tongue makes a seal on the roof of your mouth, and then the fluid goes down. For her tongue can't make that seal because the palate is too high. And that's why she juts her tongue out to make the food go down. It's a mechanical problem due to the structure of her mouth. So that's where her problem started at, and that started with the feeding aversions. Then she had difficulty swallowing. I mean, we're not making this up. We've got the medical, records there to prove it. Yet she tells this guy her mom used her Southern charm to fool all these specialists who are on her case. A feeding hospital, it's like specialists. Okay. I think I've belabored that point enough. Sorry, I get a little animated when I talk about this stuff because it's upsetting to me, Okay. We're going to go back now. Here we go.
Was sweet. To the untrained eye, I guess you could say, she had a very welcoming presence. Everybody, it was like that classic Southern mom. Hi, sweetie, darling, sugar plum, all that.
Yes.
And there was one doctor in particular, that she honestly, I think, in my opinion, buttered up. She would buy him gifts. He would come and visit us at the Ronald McDonald House.
Okay.
There was this sort of friendship that I don't feel is professional. You shouldn't have friendships with your patients.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see it. And so because of her charisma,
mm-hmm.
right, she was able to, sounds like, dupe
mm-hmm.
these doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a moment where a doctor said no and told her no?
Yes, there was. And this brings us to quite a pivotal moment. There was a doctor, his name was Dr. Plascherstein, or Plascherstein, however you want to kind of say it. And he examined me. He was a neurologist. Pretty sure he's retired now, but he asked me to stand up in his doctor's office. Now, I learned this on the documentary about myself. I'm learning things about my own life in a documentary.
Look at that.
And the rough part for me is, I have a therapist. And for a long time after watching the documentary, I'm like, he's lying. I don't remember that. I never remember him asking me to stand. And then a few months ago, I was laying in bed and I feel like I have two memories. And I don't know which one's real, but I think I maybe do recall him asking me to stand up. And I don't know if it was blocking that memory, but now I'm kind of like, oh my God, maybe he did.
Yes.
And I think I did stand up.
Okay.
And he told my mom, point blank, there's no reason why she can't walk. She can walk. She's fine. And my mom left. We never went to see that doctor again.
That's not true.
That doctor had put in the medical.
That's not true. That is not true. And I'm going to show you how they did go back to that doctor. They didn't doctor shop. This whole thing about Dee Dee doctor shopping, it is another fabrication that she uses to fit this narrative that her mother was this monster who medically abused her. And here we go with the receipts. Okay. So Dr. Flasterstein is who she's talking about, right? Dr. Flasterstein, many of you guys may know, is the guy who wrote that note about the Munchausen by proxy. I think she's probably going to get to that in a minute. that he suspected Munchausen by proxy and that whole thing. This is the guy, this is the same doctor that Gypsy's saying, he told me to stand up, and my mom never went back to him, right? No, 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 no. Okay. Here we go. Now, Dr. Flasterstein's, the appointment that Gypsy is talking about where she stood up was on November 6, 2007. How do I know? Because we have the doctor's note, like Gypsy was talking about. And that is the same note where he says, analyzing all the facts, and after talking to her previous pediatrician, there is a strong possibility of Munchausen by proxy, right? This is what her defense attorney hung his whole entire case on. This one line. This one line is what Mike Stanfield, Gypsy's attorney, used to say, see, she had it. This doctor said there's strong possibility, right? But the other thing that this doctor says is, with maybe some underlying unknown etiology to explain for her symptoms. And what does that mean? Well, unknown etiology means an unknown illness. Possibly there is an unknown illness to explain for these symptoms. And guess what? There was an unknown illness. It was the microdeletion, right? And just because this guy has a strong possibility because he didn't know she had a microdeletion, right? But in all fairness to him, also, Gypsy could kind of walk, right? So yes, all right, there was some issue with that, with this doctor. I understand that, okay? But this whole notion that Dee Dee was this diabolical mother who was like, knew about this, number one, knew about this, and then didn't take Gypsy back there is not true. So this appointment happened on November 6, 2007. The date, you see the red arrow going up. The red arrow is going up to Gypsy's appointments from 2007. This is November 6th, the appointment with Flasterstein. And lo and behold, on November 16th, 10 days later, Gypsy had a follow-up appointment with Dr. Flasterstein. Okay? So yes, it didn't say canceled. This is from her medical records. If the appointment was canceled, it would say canceled. Okay? No. That appointment was there. And furthermore, about this whole doctor shopping bullshit, excuse my language, doctor shopping bullshit, there's other proof of that. Now, basically, when Dee Dee got to Missouri, she, in 2006, this is from 2007, 2008. Here's what happens. She goes to two hospitals basically in Missouri, the Mercy St. John's and Children's Mercy. It's kind of like, they both got Mercy in the title, but they're two separate hospitals. So there's Mercy St. John's and there's Children's Mercy. Okay. So we've got all the list of these appointments. Okay. We've mapped them out. We know. All right. So she was referred to Children's Mercy on March 14th, 2007. Okay. And then she was at Dr. Flasterstein. Now, Dr. Flasterstein appointment went on even past November. My point here is, when you're looking at this, you're going to see here the hospital, right? Mercy St. John's, Children's Mercy, Children's Mercy, Mercy St. John's, Children's Mercy, Children's Mercy. Okay, she was going to both. But why Dee Dee changed this whole, she changed doctors, she changed hospitals. No, that happened in March, the March before the November appointment. And she was referred to the dental clinic at Children's Mercy. That's why Dee Dee went to Children's Mercy long before she ever went, for that Dr. Flasterstein's appointment. My point is, she wasn't hospital shopping or doctor shopping. Okay. She was going She was referred. She had, I think they had the government insurance, right? She was referred. She was told where to go. Dee Dee wasn't telling them where she wanted to go. They were telling her where to go. She didn't really have a choice. They're saying, here's the two big hospitals out here, Mercy, St. John's and Children's Mercy. And Dee Dee was going to both of them. I looked, I wanted to see, is it true? Did she doctor shop? Did she stop going to Mercy St. John's? No, she didn't. Okay. At a certain point, most of Gypsy's care does, because of the dental work and stuff, does happen at Children's Mercy, the other hospital, but she was going to both. Okay. And there's one other thing like poster thing I made here also showing this. These are all that, see, she was being referred. And even back in later on, 2011, 2012, 2013, Gypsy's being referred back to Mercy. She's being referred back to Mercy. My whole point is she was going to both. There wasn't one or the other. There wasn't an event that caused Dee Dee to go, oh my God, we better not go to this hospital anymore. They're on to us. They're on to us, guys. They're on to us. No. So I don't know where this little story comes from. Probably the attorney again thinking, I don't know. All I know is it's not true, and I can prove it's not true. Okay, let's get back to the lie fest of this interview.
Medical records in his notes from that day. Suspicion of mother with Munchausen by proxy. He puts that in the medical records. Now, my mom would always request a copy of the medical records after every appointment.
Okay.
We can guess, me being me, my family, my attorney, we all think that she's seen that in the medical records and chose to leave and not go to that doctor again.
Okay. Okay.
She was there 10 days later. 10 days later, she was seeing the doctor again, the same doctor. Okay. I don't know how it worked back then. And I'll be honest, I've never really requested my own medical records, but I know a lot of you guys probably have a lot more, experience at getting medical records. And I know it's changed over the years. But in 2007, even if Dee Dee was trying to get the medical records, I mean, she wouldn't get them the next day, right? I don't know. I don't think they were on the computer back then, right? Someone let me know. And there's no crime in getting your kids' medical records. I think Dee Dee probably did. I think she did have Gypsy's medical records. But to say that she was getting them because she was perusing them, oh my God, is someone on to me? No, because she would have left. Like she would literally, if she was really trying to do this medical abuse. Yeah. After Flasterstein wrote that, how long it took for her to see that, I don't know. But yeah, she wouldn't have gone back. She wouldn't have gone back to that hospital at all, I would think, right? And not only did she go back to Dr. Flasterstein, but she's continued to go to Mercy St. John's. So I don't know where this story comes from. Okay.
And so when a doctor leaves a report like that, then where does it go?
Usually it would go to social services, family protective services, which they did come to my house. They come to my house. They separate me and my mom, her in the living room, me in my bedroom. They bring a sheriff or a deputy with them.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So it was 2 caseworkers and a deputy. And the deputy was questioning my mom in the other room about why is there a E at the end of Blanchard? Because it's just Blanchard. There's no E at the end. But she had put an E at the end and essentially was, forging all these documents.
Okay, so in Blanchard, that's your last name?
Yes.
So Gypsy Rose Blanchard. But she's including that.
Yes.
To throw people off.
To throw people off.
Wow.
Okay. Now, there's a couple of different ways the E could have gotten at the end of Blanchard. Sure, Dee Dee could have done it. Or could have been a typo. Could somebody, look, my maiden name, it's an Italian maiden name. And people would misspell it all the time. All the time. I can't tell you how many times I would see my name as a kid misspelled, so is it possible that somebody transcribed it wrong? I think that's one possibility. And I'm not going to discount and say, absolutely, Dee Dee didn't do that. I don't know. I try to play the fair person here. the as unbiased as I can be when I'm looking at the evidence part of it. Yeah, I'm biased because I find that Gypsy, what I found about her, if you know my channel, what I found about her, it's made me a little bit biased, but I try very hard when I'm looking at all this stuff to remain unbiased when I'm looking at the paperwork, the evidence and stuff like that. And so could Dee Dee have done it? Added the E? Possibly. I don't know what the reason would have been. Or could it have been like when I was growing up, my name was spelled 20 million different ways when I was growing up, Okay.
Look at that.
And so they questioned her, why is the birth date different from this hospital to this hospital? How old is your daughter? When was she born?
Yes.
Where was she born? And she goes on to tell them a story about how, she had a terrible marriage with my father and he's abusive. And she put the E at the end because to avoid him finding us. Okay. So I don't know what they told her, if they're like, okay, fine, get it straightened out. I don't know. But in the other room where I was being questioned, they were asking me, is there bruises on your body?
Okay.
Can I look at your arms? Can I look at your legs? So I showed them my arms. I showed them my legs. And I was terrified of being taken away from my mom because my mom raised me to believe that child services, the state, as she would call it, is evil, is bad people. And so I was terrified to be taken away from my mom because at that time, yes, a lot of abuse was going on, but I also
all right, I can't take it. I got to show my receipt on this. Okay, so when CPS came out there, yes, they did. It was probably based on what Flasterstein wrote, the possibility of Munchausen. It probably did trigger a CPS action. And so we do know, we do have that report of what happened. And here's the thing about that report of them going out there. It is the very last line of this report that is the most important part of it to me. Sure, I believe they probably did separate. I believe all that. I believe, that's kind of how CPS works. I'm not finding that anything weird with that. And that they took Gypsy into her room and then they separated them. That's what cops do. They separate two people because they don't want you guys to talk so that you can get your story straight, right? So they separate you. And what did this person say? And what did that person say, right? So that's what they did. Now, when they were talking with Gypsy, something very bizarre happened. Okay. Number one, Gypsy was 18 years old when this happened. 18. She was a legal adult when CPS went out there. And here is part of that, the end of that report. This was written by the deputy that was talking with Gypsy. I believe there was 2 deputies and 2 social workers based on this report. Here is the main thing, the main takeaway from this CPS visit. It states, it was further determined that Gypsy was 18 years of age and does suffer from some type of what? Mental handicap. What? What? While on site, it was apparent that Gypsy is being attended to reference her personal and physical needs. Okay. So what does this mean? Why did that deputy write that observation? The Gypsy, it's apparent. It's completely apparent she has a mental handicap. Well, I don't know. How would this... Was Gypsy obviously was acting slow, was acting like she had a mental handicap. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about this little CPS visit. All right, so let's hear what else Gypsy has to say about it, shall we?
loved my mom very much. And they were asking me questions that didn't pertain to Munchausen by proxy.
Okay.
There
Oh,
wasn't
brother.
physical hitting. There wasn't punching. There wasn't physical abuse.
Yes.
So I didn't think to say I could walk
Why not?
because they were asking the wrong questions.
Oh,
And I'm not blaming.
oh, they were asking the wrong. We've heard of this to other interviews. They weren't asking the right questions. There was an interview with Melissa Moore was in it, and they weren't asking the right questions. It's like, well, if you wanted out, you could have stood up. You could have, right? If you wanted the gig to be up with your walking deal, you could have just got up right in front of them and said, guys, I'm 18. I can walk. I'm going to pack my stuff. I don't feel safe here. I need to leave. Okay. You could have done that.
Them like all this is their fault. I'm just saying I think that, in situations like this, Munchausen by proxy should have been looked at. If you see a child
What?
supposedly with all these medical issues, you have a doctor that writes in his notes.
Well, because the medical records backed up the why you had to have the feeding tube, just like I demonstrated here a few minutes ago. What would they have been thinking about that part? The part that was weird to Dr. Flasterstein was that you could walk, not the other issues. By then, she had already had the feeding tube placed and her salivary glands removed, right? Well documented, both of them. Perfect procedures, perfectly backed up by sound medical stuff, okay? So, no, nobody would have looked at her records and thought, oh my God, is this girl, could it be Munchausen? No, because what was the reason Flasterstein thought Munchausen wasn't about the feeding tube, wasn't about the salivary glands. It was because he knew she could walk. He knew she could walk, but he's a neurologist. That was the only reason he suspected Munchausen. And we know what? The Gypsy, right? Gypsy, I didn't tell my mom. I was scared to tell my mom I could walk. That video. So, no, CPS didn't go out because you had all these weird procedures. You didn't have a bunch of weird procedures. They went out because they knew you could. Well, Flasterstein was like, I'm pretty sure that girl can walk. She's got regular, MRI. She's got, there's nothing I can find. She's got regular muscle tone in her legs. What? Okay.
Suspicion of Munchausen by proxy. Why aren't you asking those questions? The right questions, instead of asking me if I had bruises,
If they had asked the right questions, how do you suspect?
I
your life
probably would have
changed?
been so innocent and probably just told them the truth. Like, yes,
The truth of what? That you're faking you can't walk?
I could walk. Not knowing, because I didn't know what Munchausen by proxy was.
When you reflect
Oh.
back upon the procedures,
Hmm.
what were all the procedures that the doctors
here we
ended up doing
go.
on you?
So the most prominent ones were, of course, the feeding tube. Now,
Mhm.
my mother claimed that I was having trouble swallowing. Now, I have no
I showed you the video. I don't know where she got that from. I have no idea why anyone thought I had problems swallowing. Okay.
recollection of ever having any eating issues.
Oh my God. She knows. She remembers that. She even to this day has issues swallowing. She knows this. This part is wild to me, you guys. It's wild. Okay. There's no way, when she was 8 when this was first going on, she remembers fully her eating difficulties, her eating problems. She knows all about it. Okay.
The surgery happened when I was 8. So from birth all the way to 8 years old, eating perfectly fine.
Yes.
Oh my God. I can't. I can't. Did you want to this guy, this Paul guy, the interviewer? Why didn't he have the research on the barium swallows? Well, right here, we've got two barium swallow test here that said you had difficulty swallowing all consistencies of food. What do you have to say about that? Can't anyone get these interviews right? Okay.
No issues. Then all of a sudden go into the hospital having issues eating. And they had put the temporary feeding tube through the nostril. And then the doctor said, we want to do something.
Right, because that was during the month-long stay. That's one of the things they would do, because she was like super thin, like malnourished, almost, with that 36 pounds, right? And luckily, Dee Dee was being a good mom, getting it taken care of, very worried about her daughter's health, very worried about her eating issues. I don't know what's going on. She only wants to eat mashed potatoes or this or that. She's got problems, too much saliva. All of these things were manifesting at that time. Okay. And for the moms and grandmas, or even if you don't have kids, if you have a pet, you feel the same way about your pet. When your kid or your pet is sick, it's very upsetting. Can you imagine how upsetting this must have been? I can't imagine having to have my child, go into the hospital for a month because they're not gaining weight. They're severely underweight, and she's got, swallowing issues and not understanding what's going on. I mean, it must have been terrifying in a way. Okay.
something more permanent. How about let's do a G tube?
Wow, I didn't realize you had a permanent
Yeah.
feeding tube.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
you guys, this guy did not know before he does the interview that one of the main things she had was a feeding tube. I mean, wow.
So they put a permanent feeding tube, and I had that all the way up until the crime happened.
So all the way through your teens.
All the way through my teen years.
So does that mean that you then never?
It's not that I didn't eat by mouth, but ate very little by mouth.
Okay.
So I would like mashed potatoes.
How about all the diets you were going on, and you were, texting back and forth with Nick, that you're so fat, you were going on a diet, you were going to cut out stuff. What do you mean you ate very little? You talked about several times how you were going on diets. You talked about going to a barbecue and what you were eating. I can't, I don't have it in here, but I went over that where, this whole poster thing I made of her talking about these different foods she was consuming. It wasn't just soft foods, okay?
I was allowed to eat that, but I was mostly fed through the feeding tube with Pediasure or Ensure, which is just a supplemental nutrition shake.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that was what, 9 all the way to your early 20s. So almost 2 decades of having a feeding tube. What is physically, what does that do to you?
I mean, physically, every 6 months, I would have to have it changed
Here we go.
because any sort of foreign object in your body, the stomach acid is going to erode it away. So every 6 months, I'd have to have it changed, which is very uncomfortable. They don't put you under anesthesia.
I'm not saying it's not uncomfortable, but I've had moms write to me who have their kids with the feeding tubes, and they say, that they actually do it themselves. A lot of this is not a like horrendous procedure to have this change. And I'm not saying it's not uncomfortable, but she acts like, she needed to be put under anesthesia or something, where actually parents do this at home for their own kids that have it. Okay. Change the feeding tube is what I'm talking about.
Or anything for that. And just kind of feeling something foreign in your body, certain clothing I couldn't wear because it would snag and pull and tug. I mean, it's an open
You seem to wear a lot of stuff for Nick. I don't know. I mean, you seem to work out your wardrobe for him.
hole into your stomach.
Yes.
So growing up with that, it was something that I adjusted to. But it left me with a scar now that I don't have it. It looks like a second belly button.
Yeah. So then, Gypsy, what are some of the other procedures?
Okay, so if you notice,
He's thinking it's going to be a long list. He's thinking it's going to be some freaking long list. Okay, dude, it's like 3 procedures plus the muscle biopsy, right? So, how many times I've gone over this? It's the salivary glands, right? And it's the feeding tube, right? And then she had that Nissan fundoplication, which went with the feeding tube. They're pretty much done together, and that was for her stomach acid. They do the wrap around part of your intestines on your stomach to prevent the stomach acid from coming up into your throat. Okay, that's it. Those were the major procedures. Well, we know, and plus she had the eye surgeries and stuff like that, but she doesn't claim the eye surgeries were bogus or unneeded, right? But yeah, I think this guy, and I think when people like don't know about her story, what did she all have done to you? They're thinking like some long list she's going to pull out of her ass and start reading from, right? But of course, the worst one, and I'm going to agree with her here, the worst one probably was the salivary gland. Yeah, that was kind of a major surgery. So I'll agree with that. The other 2 were not major surgeries, and having a feeding tube placed and the Nissan fundoplication was laparoscopic done. The Nissan fundoplication was a laparoscopic procedure. So the only time that her mother ever had a surgery was one surgery, technical surgery, because laparoscopic, it's considered surgery, but you know what I mean by surgery, actually like we're opening you up, was the salivary glands. That's it. There weren't any others. It was that one. And then you got the feeding tube, and then she had a muscle biopsy on her right thigh. That's it.
I have a scar, okay, this is around my neck. And I also clear my throat a lot and have to drink a lot of water. So my
brother.
salivary glands that
Mhm.
produces saliva was
Mhm.
removed from my neck.
Mm.
My mom would put Oragel before we would go into the doctor's appointment on my mouth.
Wow. And I'm going to debunk this. Of course I am.
to make me drool. Okay. So upon examination, the doctor saw me drool. It's excessive drooling.
I can't believe, I wonder who came up. Did she come up with the Oragel story or was that Mike Stanfield? I'm wondering who came up with it, you know?
There's a way to take care of that. So let's remove the salivary glands.
Wow. And I mean, that's a major procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And you are how old when that procedure happens?
That procedure happened in 2007.
2006. It happened in 2006, Gypsy. Let's go ahead and talk just briefly about this one and how it came about and how much workup that they did to have that done for you. All right, let me see where this is at here. Can't swallow. We're going to go over some of the swallowing things. You guys know about this one. This is the barium swallow test that was done, which I just wanted to go over that and show that again. Okay, so with the tongue thrust here, I Googled it. I got it here, right? Tongue thrust, reverse swallow. You see that she has it. What does it say? This creates an improper seal, often leading to excessive saliva, drooling, or difficulty swallowing effectively. Okay, that's where the excessive saliva came from. It didn't come from Oragel. You still have this issue. We don't see you drooling because your mom had 2 of your salivary glands removed. You have 6 major, and she had 2 of them removed. And then you've got, I think it's thousands of minor, hundreds or thousands of minor salivary glands. So yeah, she does have saliva. Okay. Now, one other thing here. Here's the workup. This is called a conservative approach to treating this salivary gland swallowing issue. Starting in January of 2004, they started to give her medication by mouth. They tried medication by mouth for the hypersalivation. By the end of January in 2004, they do that barium swallow test, and it says patient exhibited significant difficulty in swallowing all consistencies of food. Okay. Then March of 2005, they try the Botox. Okay. They try the Botox. And for a while, the Botox works. Okay. And that takes us all the way. So August 2005. What happens in August 2005? Hurricane Katrina happens. So when the Botox stopped working for Gypsy, Hurricane Katrina happened and they moved to Missouri. And so it wasn't until she got to Missouri that she actually had her salivary glands removed. My point of that little, poster was it took 2 years of treatment, of doctors trying everything, multiple exams, multiple doctors seeing the drooling, the hypersalivation, the reverse swallow, the tongue thrust, the barium swallow test, all of these things before they even considered to do the surgery on her salivary glands. 2 years. It wasn't no Dee Dee Southern Charm. It wasn't Dee Dee going, so doctor, my daughter is drooling. Can you do something about this, please? No, that didn't happen. 2 years of medical intervention before they resulted to the surgery. That's called conservative treatment. Conservative. Like they're not fast tracking this treatment. Okay. And you guys know, those of you that have had surgeries and issues like that. I mean, how long does it take to get to the surgery? They work you up first. They do all the testing. They try different approaches. Surgery is always the last resort, right? Always the last resort. Even when you're having a baby, right? I had 3 C-sections, right? They want you to go into labor. They want you to try to, right? Before they'll even do a C-section, except for my last one, because I had 2 before and they just planned it. They're like, well, we'll just plan it. But you follow what I'm saying here. Usually they want you to, they try everything. So this whole Southern Charm bullshit. All right, let's go on. So that's how you had the salivary gland. And you know what? One other thing I always found funny. I always just chuckle to myself about. And it's not funny actually, because when you think of Munchausen by proxy moms, right? It's sick, it's horrific. Um, but salivary glands, like I know, like a lot of the Munchausen kids get the feeding tubes, right? That is common. I've talked about this in another video. But what's not common with moms that have, or moms or caretakers that have been really diagnosed with the Munchausen, thinking, you know what? How can I get my kids' salivary glands removed? I mean, that is so bizarre. That You follow what I'm saying here? If Dee Dee really had it, right? I mean, why would she? That is such a bizarre procedure in itself. It's not like the normal things, like these other mothers would do horrendous things to their kids. I don't want to get into them, but I don't think there was ever one that was trying to get their kids' salivary glands removed. Okay. I'm just going to say that. It's just crazy. All right. Let's continue, and we'll take a break here in a minute. I'll get to some of your comments. So if you guys have any comments or anything, let me know. But let's go on. We'll take a break in a minute.
Okay, 2007.
And my mom always would tell me, I'm doing the talking. Just be a good girl, play with your stuffed animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, don't say anything.
Right. And if you be good, which means stay quiet, we get to go to Toys R Us and a toy store as soon as we leave.
I would imagine too is that you're so used to going to the doctor that this is just a normal.
This is just routine.
This is routine at home.
I don't know if any of you guys saw. I didn't clip it, but Gypsy did post today on her TikTok. Her taking her daughter to the toy store. I don't know if it was is Toys R Us around anymore? I don't know. Maybe it was Target, to get toys, and she got her all of these toys. And when I was listening to this today, I was just like, oh, that's weird. Like she was like really overindulging, and like, I thought it looked like Christmas morning that she was loading up this basket. And I'm like, geez, wow, that's like a ton of toys. Wow. Okay.
When you're not in the hospital, you would then just remain in your wheelchair.
And our day-to-day lives was me in the wheelchair. I didn't get up and walk around unless she was not in the house.
Oh, wow.
So if she left the house to, say, go to the grocery store for a
I don't believe this.
second, I would get up and walk around. I would test the limits.
Yes.
Leg strength wasn't great, obviously, because I hadn't been walking like normal.
Your leg strength isn't great because you have type 2 atrophy, fiber atrophy. Okay. You've got issues with your muscles. All right. It's from the microdeletion.
But just to kind of feel like, hey, I'm walking.
Yes. Did you ever think or bring up
The guy. Yeah. Yeah. He's eating it up. He believes it.
the fact that you could walk to
I
your
did.
mother?
I
You
did many times, and
Okay.
it always resulted in an argument. And it always resulted in some form of it bringing all of it back to her. Like, you don't love me.
All right, let's stop here for a minute, okay, about this. Let's clear up this whole walking thing. As much as we can clear it up, right? What happened with this walking thing, right? What's the truth behind the walking thing? I don't know if we'll ever know the full truth of it, okay? But I was shocked, and I won't bring it up, but well, hold on. I have a few other clues about the walking thing. This is what Gypsy wrote. I'm not going to read all of this, but this is what she wrote after the video came out. You guys know what video I'm talking about. I'm talking about this video where she talks about how she can walk.
A seizure and
right?
was
Okay,
paralyzed.
this video, right?
But what they didn't know is that it was temporary.
She goes on to say they didn't know it was temporary, but then I get feeling back and I don't tell my mom, and I'm scared to tell my mom because I'm scared to lose her love, yada, 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 right? Okay. I thought she's going to deny that. No, she didn't. She doubled down on that. And somebody asked her here. So for a long time, based on that claim, she truly thought you were physically handicapped. I would love to know your take on this. People would be much more supportive if you would answer the questions that the public has, instead of leaving people confused because of what you say now versus what you say in the videos. And then Gypsy answers. If you're asking about that specific video, the video I just showed you guys, I want to be very clear. Yes, I always knew I could walk, and I've always admitted that. What I was trying to explain in that conversation was that I never wanted to bring that topic up to my mother. I avoided confronting her because whenever I did, she used manipulation. She used manipulation tactics against me. She had caught me jumping on the bed when I was young. She had seen me move my legs, yada, yada, yada. When someone is living with Munchausen, they can exist in a state of denial. In my view, she was mentally aware on some level, but emotionally disconnected from the reality of the situation. I don't understand. What you're saying then is that what you're said in that video is true, that you did not make it plainly clear to your mother, I can walk, like jump up and down. Like what you're saying is, well, she knew it. She knew I could walk. I don't think she ever thought you were totally paralyzed. I think she thought you were very weak and needed help and needed the wheelchair to get around. I think that's what you were playing at. Okay. Whether you were scared of her or not, or you were playing your own game, I don't know. But no, you're admitting that you weren't being completely honest with your mom about the walking. And your response to that is, but she knew I could walk. Well, what do we know she knew? I don't know that. This is where this whole walking thing just completely boggles my mind. Okay. And knowing her level of deception, I gotta believe what she's was deceiving her mom with this. I'm weak, or I can only barely walk to the bathroom, or I don't know. I think she liked the attention. I think she liked the perks. I think she liked all of it. I think she liked playing the sick little girl. This is the first time I've ever said that. I've never said that before in 2 years. Never said what I just said. Because I after going over this again, because I try to stay unbiased. I try to stay unbiased and think, well, did Dee Dee make her do it? Was Dee Dee making her be in the chair? Or was Dee Dee like, yeah, she's weak? I think Dee Dee was like, yeah, she's weak. Obviously, Dee Dee knew she could walk. I mean, to some extent is what I'm saying, right? But yeah, I think Gypsy is a special kind of crazy, and a special evil kind of crazy. All right, let's get back to it.
I'm supposed to be the one you trust. I'm supposed to be the one you love. But if you feel like you can go and do better with your dad, then go. Like, it was always like this level of manipulation.
Did you just hear that? Well, if you think you could go live better with your dad, go. I thought she wasn't allowed to go see her dad. Wait, I thought she was keeping you from your dad. That's what you told everyone. That's why you couldn't reach out to your dad, because you thought he was an evil monster, because your mom said he was an evil monster. Well, you just did a little slip there. Little slip, huh? Little slip, Gypsy?
Like, anytime that I would bring up, I'm not as sick as you're saying, it was always an argument. And then I felt like I had lost a mom. And I didn't want to lose my mom. And so, some would say I went along with that. Perspective is everything.
My mom couldn't have kept me in a wheelchair. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I would have been throwing that thing at her. Get out of here with that. I'm a kid. I'm going to go outside and play. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
If you want to say I went along with it, okay, but look at the reasons behind it. You have a child that wants her mom to love her.
Yes. Yes. That really hit me, because
Yes.
I see
yes.
that accident.
Mm.
I also see what was happening in her house.
Mhm.
I see the circumstances in which you were born,
Mhm.
unknowing what's happened to your mother,
Mhm.
in her childhood.
Yeah.
And how each incident created to this spiral, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
And you feel as if you're losing your mom.
Yeah.
And so you're just fighting to keep her.
Mhm.
And sometimes fighting to keep her is just staying silent.
Correct.
Losing her? She's never felt like she was losing Dee Dee. What? No. No, that's not true. Gypsy thought she was losing her mom. Isn't that what she wanted? I mean, ultimately, didn't she want to lose her permanently? I mean, what do you mean she was scared of losing her? She murdered her. What the hell? I can't. I really can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you feel love from anyone outside of the love that you assumed that your mother was providing you? But did you feel love? And when I say love, is this emotional safety, physical safety? Did you feel that with anyone?
Back then?
Yes.
No.
What about the people's house she stayed at? The Aunt Marcia, was it Aunt Marcia? There were people that she actually spent the night. Like Dee Dee had like this kind of little group of friends. They were pretty close. That they would stay with this one woman from time to time. I don't buy this that they were so isolated. Dee Dee was like the vice president of the Habitat for Humanity neighborhood thing. Like she was like really involved with the community. Like she's in the paper for some Red Cross event over there. They were doing things all the time.
Did you feel it with your mother?
Yes, for a time. Until I got a little older.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you begin to feel that love, and now that you reflect back as an adult, is what was happening for you? What was going on for you as a child who doesn't feel safe emotionally or physically?
There was anger towards her I felt allowing my grandfather to take care of me at that time. And so I blamed her for what happened to me with getting molested. And there was resentment that boiled up. It wasn't there in early childhood because I was so innocent.
Okay.
But then the more time went on, the more anger and resentment built up. Like, you don't let me go over to dad's and spend nights over or weeks over with dad. I can never keep a friend. I might have a friend for a week, and then all of a sudden,
that wasn't her fault. There's, I have the receipt here where, she was going to let Rod take Gypsy on a vacation and Rod turned it down. So
my mom starts to get jealous of this friend. And we're talking a child.
Yes.
We're talking an 8-year-old child that you're getting jealous of. And there was always something that was wrong or off about that child. So I could no longer have that friend.
I think Gypsy's this is projection. I think this is how Gypsy thinks. I think Gypsy is hypercritical of people. Something's wrong with everybody. I think she's
and it happened over and over and over again. Most people have that best friend child, the best friend growing up as a child. I never had that.
Never
had that. And that was a continuous cycle for everyone in my life.
She didn't have friends in prison. This is someone, look, okay? This is one of these people, right? Allegedly a psychopath, a malignant narcissist. People are commodities to these people. These aren't people that get close to people to feel love. Everyone is a commodity, to be used in a certain way. And, you go to prison for 8 years, you would think you would have one or two really close friends from that situation going through that together, right? And she doesn't. In fact, all that comes out about her from the people that were in prison with her is they didn't like her. They didn't like her. This is not a likable person. And, and especially when you're dealing with some women that have been to prison a few times who are very street smart, they probably picked up on her like that, right? They probably read her like that and knew, not getting close to that one, So I this whole thing that her mother didn't allow her to have friends and all that, I think Gypsy was the issue the whole time, probably, even growing up as a kid.
And so it's like I knew.
Because one more thing, because Dee Dee took her to summer camps, like Dee Dee went, like tried to get her, out with other kids and stuff. And I could be wrong. I'm just speculating here, obviously. But based on how she was when she was in prison, there wasn't a lot of, there was no close friends.
Knew that no matter who it would be that I would get close to, it wouldn't matter because they would be, it wouldn't be in my life forever. The only forever was my mom.
Okay. And with your mother, it seems like everything then you did was with her.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
Everything. Did even when you were in the same house, did you? I read that you slept in the same bed.
We slept in the same bed. The only time that I was ever sleeping in my own room, in my own bed, was as a punishment.
Interesting.
As a punishment. Now that sounds like your mom was being permissive. Like she was like you didn't want to sleep in your own bed. This is what it sounds like to me. We all know about it, right? Moms, people that are moms, right? The time where you got to have your kid in their own bed, and they come crawling into your bed, right, every night, and pretty soon you're taking them back to the room. No, honey, you have your own bed now. It sounds like, if Dee Dee was at fault at being any kind of a parent, it was being too permissive, right? She spoiled her. And this is what this sounds like to me. The sleeping in the same bed issue, the bottle issue, having to have a bottle still when she's 20 years old, right? I mean, Dee Dee was just loved her too much. It was just Dee Dee, that was her person, it was her only child, and she was a sickly child.
Okay.
Which is a small child, young child. I grew up, I loved sleeping with my mom as a child. And I was afraid of the dark. And so a punishment of mine would be, you have to sleep in your room. And I would cry and I would cry and I would beg to go back and sleep with her. But it's certain things in parenting that it's like you need to show your child gain some independence and not make independence a punishment.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I would imagine now.
What? Well, I can't.
Oh, more so than anything, you're very aware.
Oh, yes, I'm very aware.
Yes, of that.
Yes.
What did you enjoy doing as a child?
As a child, I loved playing outside. I loved, as a small child, I had a bunch of cousins, and we'd do cousins by the dozens nights. All the cousins would come over and do sleepovers. I loved to watch TV. I loved dressing up. Loved Disney movies. Loved playing with my dolls and Hot Wheels. Like, my toys and my mom was like my comfort.
Okay, I can see how she used the toy store, because that was it.
Yeah.
It was the toys. I loved a good Hot Wheel myself.
Yes, they are good collectors.
Yeah, very good, very good. There's been an endless number of documentaries, TV specials, extended podcasts about your life.
Yeah.
It centers around your childhood, the crime. Was there anything that you want to clarify that you've seen or heard about from these documentaries that you do believe is inaccurate?
That's a loaded question. I mean,
they were all propaganda pieces for her. She loved them all, right? Well, she doesn't like the act, which wasn't even harsh on her at all, right? But she didn't get paid. But then she did get paid. The guy came up with money for her later. That's another whole story I won't get into. I know most of you guys know that, but yeah, come on, Mommy, Dead, and Dearest. That was made with about for you to make Nick look terrible.
Nothing that I could really touch on specifically. I mean, all I know is that, from birth to,
oh yeah, good point. And Chris Blair, she wasn't a child. Exactly.
5 years oldish, the simplicity of having my mom, even with the medical stuff. I loved my mom so much at that time. My mom was my world.
I see she was everything and the only thing that you had. Yeah. Real quick, hit subscribe and I'll tell you why. It allows us to continue making the show. Right now, I'm in LA. And by you subscribing, we can go anywhere in the world, bring you the most phenomenal guests, and continue making this show that we all love.
Didn't do it right.
All you have to do is subscribe.
Disappointing.
That's simple.
Disappointing.
And so
we'll take a break in a minute, guys.
Start dating.
Kind of.
Sort of.
Kind of.
How does that happen? And also, how does your mother?
We'll break here because we're going to get into the dating, and I got a lot of receipts about that. I really have a lot of receipts about that. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at some of your guys' comments. What the heck? Someone's trying to call me. Let's take a look at some of your guys' comments, and then we will get back to the dating. Oh, all right. Here we go. All right. Where did I leave off at? Okay. Christy, member for 7 months. Rest in peace, Dee Dee. Thank you, Christy. Thank you for being one of my great mods. Really appreciate that. Next up, we got Lisa Evans, member for 13 months. Hey, Becca and chat. Hey, Lisa. So glad to see you here. And we got Jessa M, 8338, member for 2 months. Yay, Jessa. Can't believe it's been 2 months already. Woohoo. Thank you, Jessa. Thank you for being here. And we've got Aaron. I'm going to say Aaron. $1.99. Forever here, Becca. Never stop. Thank you, Aaron. I really appreciate that. And we've got Laura Lee. Love Laura Lee, member for 2 months. Thank you for doing this for Dee Dee, Becca. Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Laura Lee. So happy to see you here too. And we've got Jessa M, 799. The audacity of telling her story for the first time for the millionth time is unreal, right? Let's be so for real. I mean, how many interviews is this? How many documentaries is this, right? It's mind blowing. Thank you, Jessa. Super cute TT, member for 3 months. How anyone can believe that Dee Dee was able to force Gypsy to do a thing, right? Right. Dee Dee didn't even get her to brush her teeth. No. And let's not talk about the toothbrushes either. Thank you, super cute TT. Pink Porcupine, another favorite, member for 13 months. You guys see Keegan in the background? Keegan just moved. Thanks. And Pink Porcupine says, thanks for exposing the facts with receipts. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. So happy to see you here, Pink Porcupine. And we got Nikki 493, member for 5 months. Nikki, so happy to see you here in chat also. And we've got Alyssa Vegan 8081, 4 pounds 99 pence. It's strange her dad gets a free pass considering he was a serial cheat, and she's tired of being a cash cow, right? Maybe she should look at Rod and Christy. Exactly, Alyssa. Thank you for that. It's strange her dad gets a free pass. Her dad has her everything. Her dad, she's like idolizes her dad now. Okay. It's really weird. Next up, we got one of our favorites, Carolina girl coming in, member for 11 months, who says, much love to you, Becca, and thinking of Dee Dee today. May she rest in peace. Amen, Carolina girl. And thank you for being here. And we got a Zombie Pirate 23, one of our favorites. Hey, Zombie Pirate, how are you doing? Who gifted one Becca Scoops membership. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. PGH Deb 412, member for 6 whole months. Great, Deb. Thank you for being here. She says, RIP DD. Thank you, Becca. You're welcome, Deb. Thank you for being here. And we've got Holier Than Thou coming in, who's a member for 13 months. Rest in peace, Dee Dee Blanchard. Thank you, Holier Than Thou. That's very nice. Thank you for being a member here for 13 months. That means a lot to us. Next up, we've got Lisa Knowles Schinkel, 3061, who also became a member. You guys welcome Lisa. Welcome her aboard the Truth Train. Welcome aboard, Lisa. Next up, we've got at 11 My Future, who's been a member for 8 months. Thank you, Becca, for your hard work and dedication. Oh, at 11 My Future, you're very, very welcome. And thank you. Oh, look at your kitty. Oh, I see your little... Oh, yeah, Keegan's back there. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. And next up, we've got, where are we? Oh, we got that one. Yeah. And next up, we've got Insomniac at 6 Insomniac, I think, 5 pounds. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Do none of these people do... I know where this is going already. Do none of these people do any research before interviewing Gypsy? No. No, not even an hour's worth. I mean, not even a 45 minutes worth. Okay. It's mind blowing, the ignorance. It is, right? I mean, it's not hard to find the information. You're going to go research it, right? I mean, it's not, I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's kind of scary, actually. All right. Let's do a few more. Next up, we've got one of our favorites, Laura Lee, coming back in with, wow, $69.99 Canadian dollars. Wow, that's very, very generous, Laura Lee. Thank you so much. Laura Lee says, Dee Dee must have been a saint. Can you imagine the stress of having a sick daughter and not knowing why? Dee Dee did so much for her and tried to give a good life. And Gypsy is a thankless bitch, making her mother out to be a monster. And Dee Dee was sick too. Yeah, Laura Lee, I couldn't agree more. She must have been some kind of a saint. I mean, no one is, obviously Dee Dee, was a human being like the rest of us. But can you imagine having to put up with Gypsy? Can you imagine the tantrums, the teen years? I know how I was as a teen. Can you imagine a malignant narcissist, allegedly psychopath as a teen. It must have been hell on earth for Dee Dee. All right. Next up, we've got we've got at 11 My Future, $9.99. Thank you so much. That's very generous. Thank you so much for honoring Dee Dee's memory. Gypsy is a pathological psychopath. That pretty much sums it up. And thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And Zombie Pirate coming back, member for 6 months, of course. Thanks for doing this, Becca. Also, if only we had the body cam of that CPS visit, right? That would have, oh my gosh, can you imagine what that would have been like? Her playing mentally handicapped. It says mentally handicapped, not physically handicapped. Of course, she's in the wheelchair. But what he notes is she's obviously mentally handicapped. What did she do? Okay. You go on, Zombie Pirate, to say, I want to see how Gypshit was acting to make them note that. Just what I said. Exactly. Yeah. Next up, we've got Missouri Grandma with $20. Thank you, Missouri Grandma. So happy to see you here tonight. Missouri Grandma says, this guy doesn't care what her story is. He's like, yes, right? He doesn't care at all, Missouri Grandma. He absolutely sees all the popularity her case is stirring right now, and he didn't want to miss out on his piece of pie. $signs. Exactly. I don't think he looked at her case at all. No. All about money. Right. So, I mean, obviously this guy's got 500,000 followers on YouTube, right? So he's got a big production going on there. He's got his own researchers, right? And still, so he's got notes and still he couldn't get it right. Or did he not want to get it right? Like you're kind of saying, Missouri Grandma, did he not even care? You know, I get that he's not an investigative reporter, but he's doing an in-depth, over 2-hour interview with a mommy murderer. Don't you want to ask some hard questions? Don't you want to be the one? Talk about having a viral video. But I guess you're right. I guess he just wanted to play it nice. You know, that's all I can think of, Missouri Grandma. I agree with you there. All right. Thanks for that. Next up, Pink Porcupine coming in with $49.99. Wow, that's super generous. Thank you so much, Pink Porcupine. She says, I believe Dee Dee's role is often overlooked. She fought for a diagnosis and cared for a medically complex child. Yes. Pursuing treatment that saved Gypsy's sight and likely her life. Dee Dee reportedly pleaded, please don't hurt me. Not the other way around. Yeah, I just want to take a moment about that since we're kind of on the anniversary here. Gypsy is the one who reports this, that Dee Dee said, please just don't hurt me. You know, we know there was prior abuse, right? The so-called BB gun incident, which was actually a pellet gun, like everyone likes to tell me, right? And I've corrected myself. I understand this was kind of a powerful pellet gun. And we know about that, right? What don't we know about? Who was really, this whole thing of Gypsy was the abused one, or was it Dee Dee? Well, yeah, we can say for sure yes, because we've got that incident, that one incident to point to. But can you imagine if Gypsy got triggered? And we've seen a video of her being triggered recently, right? The blanket video. Can you imagine? You know she had tantrums like that with Dee Dee. You know she did. I'm wondering if she physically abused Dee Dee in other ways. I don't know that. I'm just wondering, especially those teen years. We all know how crazy we are as teens. So thanks for that, Pink Porcupine. Really appreciate that. Very generous. We'll do a couple more. At six, Insomniac, 5 pounds. Did Gypsy think this podcast was going to help her? Yes, I think she did. She just came out with new lies. That's right. By the way, I want to say one thing I forgot to say in the beginning of this live stream. You reminded me. I took I took a whole bunch of notes. I've got a whole bunch of notes, okay, which I took on the interview, obviously. But the 2 things I wrote to remind myself to say, okay, and I forgot to say it, was to say, first off,
This whole interview, no mention of the microdeletion. Not one. When it's out, that's out in the mainstream. That's out in that you don't need to do a lot of research to find Gypsy's got a microdeletion. She's got it. Not one talk about it at all. It's not in the interview. The second thing, not in the interview, that Nick has level 2 autism. Those two things, nowhere in the interview. Nowhere. So is this guy just totally incompetent? Is he just not a very smart guy? Or is his research team really that bad? Or did Gypsy say, we're not talking about these things? Did she set the parameters of the interview? Because basically he went by her memoir. But the microdeletions in the memoir. But no mention, not even a question about it. That's the main thing. Okay, sorry I got off on that tangent. All right, let's go. Thank you for this at 6 Insomniac. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Next up, we're going to do a couple more. Anita Knapp, $1.99. Hey, Anita, how are you doing? Anita says, sent you a message regarding truth about her teeth extraction. Okay, Anita, thank you for a reminder. I will make sure I get to that. Thank you for that little reminder. I will get back to you. I promise. Thank you, Anita. Next up, we got one of my mods, Mersey Me, coming in. Hey, Mersey Me, how are you doing? $1.99. Squeeze the squishy. Okay. It's almost dead from the interview. I've been trying to, yeah, it's dead. Hold on, guys. Keekins wants to come up. Come on, Keekins. Come here. It's okay. Come on. Do you want to come up? No. All right. She's running away. All right. All right. Thanks, Mersey Me. And a couple more. We got Anne Fran coming in at $1.99. Rest in peace, Dee Dee. We are trying, Mama. We are trying, and we're getting somewhere. I promise you guys. I promise you guys, we are getting somewhere. Okay. All right. Next up, we got Shorty Pie, $10. Hey, back. Hey, Shorty Pie. Good to see you. I'm surprised Gypsy didn't tell the story on why Dee Dee had to go, right? Remember the throat surgery? Oh, she's going to get to it, Shorty Pie. She's going to get to it. Girl going to get to it because he asked about that. And I love that one. You know, I love that one. It's in her memoir. You'd figure she would tell it. She does. He asks about it. It's coming up, Shorty Pie. It's coming up. Next up, we've got Stephanie Manzano, $79.89, $4.99. Come on, Keekins. It's all right. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's okay. Okay. There you go. There you go. Stephanie Manzano, $4.99. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Much love to you. Much love back. So happy to see you here, Stephanie. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being in my chat. And Keekins thanks you too, Stephanie. All right. Next up, a couple more, guys. One more. Let's do one more. Beth Cooper, $43.40. £4.99. Unfortunately, this is how Paul conducts all his interviews. Oh, good to know, Beth. He's very well known in the UK TV. Okay. He is a life coach and relationship expert from the UK. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Beth. See, our chat's so smart, so worldly. Beth decided to let us know. Thank you for that heads up. That makes perfect sense. Okay. All right. We're going to go back. We're going to get back to it. Thank you, Beth. We're going to get back to it. And, all right. I want to make sure I know where I left off. Okay. So we're going to get back to it, guys. We're going to get back to it. We got a little bit more ways to go. I hope you guys are hanging in there. There is some more debunking to be done here. And now that I've got my security animal with me, I feel like I can power through this. All right. All right. Let's get this back up here. We're going into the dating now. That's what we left off on.
React to that because you just mentioned when it comes to platonic friends, she runs them away. So how do you start doing that?
Well, my mom, how do I put this? My mom was very anti-men. Once my father broke her heart, it's kind of like I grew up with a mom that became bitter. I'm just gonna put it out there, bitter. That every man is a horrible douchebag that is just out to hurt everyone. So my mom never, like, my mom wanted me to be a nun, literally, and she was gonna put me in a convent. Like she really wanted me to be a nun, even though I never expressed to her that I wanted to be one. So knowing that, I always knew she didn't want me to date. You can't stop the curiosity in a child or a teen. And that's where I was at. I was curious about the opposite sex. I was wondering, so and so lives down the street, she has a boyfriend.
Right.
And I started comparing my life to other, people around my age. Watching the Disney Channel, they have these sort of pseudo boyfriends on TV shows and stuff.
Yes.
So I started getting curious, but I got curious in the wrong way. So instead of, obviously kids meet other kids via school. I wasn't in school. So I went to the internet and I found creeps on the internet. I did things on the internet I'm not proud of, like take my clothes off for strangers. These men that I would, meet online, they were predatory. And I wasn't thinking anything different other than, yeah, this is an experience that I've had before.
So normal.
It was normal. So it's kind of like I made a secret Facebook account, but she didn't.
He has no idea how abnormal she is when it comes to the sex stuff, right? I mean, and I'm not talking about BDSM. I'm not talking about all that. I'm just talking about she is extremely what would be diagnosed as hypersexual, right? I mean, she just is. She just is. Okay.
Know about. I was adding strangers on there, meeting what I thought would be friends.
Yes.
Oh, who said that? Honey, you were the creep on the internet. I saw that. That was a good one. Whoever said that. Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, yeah, you said it for me. You said it, not me. All right.
And then there was a kind of like, I don't know if you know what Comic-Con is,
yeah,
or like a sci-fi convention type of thing.
Here we go.
So there was one that would happen in Springfield, Missouri every year. It was called Vision Con.
Okay.
And so anyway, my mom takes us to this convention and we meet lots of nice people. We have a great time. I dressed up like a princess. Like, it was fun. I started adding all these people that went to the convention on my Facebook.
Okay.
And they would say like, oh, it was so nice to see you at the convention. So at least there was some level of like interaction, like, oh, you were at the convention, so was I. And there was a guy that was at the convention. He sent me a Facebook request. His name was Dan, and he was much older than I was. So I was real age, 18, 19. But my mom was trying to pass me off as 15. Okay, so he thought that I was 15.
Okay.
He was 36 at the time.
Okay.
And started talking on Facebook and just on Facebook. I thought he was cute. And he was kind of digging me too.
Okay. Is this your first kind of interaction, pseudo romantic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we flirted for a while, and then I started telling him more about my life. And my mom had caught us talking on the phone, and she threatened him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I was going through my mom's purse, and I found my my health insurance card, and it said my birthday was 1991. And so I'm like, that would make me like
I thought she was lying to everyone.
19, not 15. So I tell this to him, and I'm like, well, that would make me legal. Like, I can go live with you. Like, like all this sort of like ideas.
Yes.
And he's like, well, if you're legal.
So I know most of you guys know this Dan Glidewell go, kind of a creep, 36-year-old. Yes. Obviously, from what I can, ascertain from people that were in the community, he was like a dog, the kind of guy, the kind of guy that just, okay. So like what Rogie was doing lately over on TikTok. And if you guys don't know, don't worry about it. This is the kind of guy that is, sending, pictures of his member to people, to women. He's like someone called him a male whore. He's just everywhere, just wanting to be with every girl. So I don't think Gypsy was like this special thing to him. In fact, his friends say that Gypsy was way more into him than he was ever into her, okay, let's go on.
And you could just get up and leave. Like you can leave. And I'm like, I don't have a car. I don't have a way to leave. And so he's like, I'll take you as far as Arkansas. Like we can live together on a ranch in Arkansas. So 2 weeks go by. I get a text from him that he's in the hospital, that he wants me to join him in the hospital. He wants someone to be there with him. He got beat up. So I pack a bag, and in the middle of the night, I get out of my mom's bed, pack a bag, go out the front door, hitchhike, meet him at the hospital, and he didn't have a home. He was couch surfing at his friends. And so we go to his friends. They realize that I'm there, and they recognize me from the convention. And they realize this girl is 15 years old. So they got in contact with a mutual friend of my mom's, told my mom where I was. 4 hours later, my mom comes.
You guys are not going to believe what Gypsy leaves out of this interview. You're not. Maybe you feel it. Maybe you've seen it already, so you already know. But for those of you that don't know, this is going to be a bombshell, what she leaves out of this interview, and it's coming up.
Pick me up.
Oh my goodness.
And she told me, she's like, if you come back with me, I'll let you see him. Manipulation to the fullest. So I get in the car. I'm like, okay. I mean, at this time, I'm like all courage. And I'm like, I know I'm 19 and I know that I can see him.
Yes.
And she's like, if you come back with me, I will let you see him. So I go back with my mom. And that's when I got chained, tied. To me, all these, words restrained to the bed happened for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks,
Mhm.
you were
Tied
tied.
up.
Now, this is allegedly. I have not been able to debunk that she was tied up because I taken the dates. I have all the dates when all of this happened and tried to put them against medical records, doctor's appointments and stuff like that. In this 2-week interval, there was no medical appointments. That's not unusual, though. It's not like she was going to the doctor every week, around this time. We're talking 2011. When she gets diagnosed with the microdeletion, obviously all the doctor's visits slow down and stuff like that. So I couldn't hook it up to anything to say, nope, I can prove that you weren't tied up for 2 weeks at that time because you were at this location. I haven't been able to do that yet, but I am highly suspect, as are many people who follow this case, with this whole tied up for 2 weeks story. And yeah.
Tied to the bed.
Mm-hmm. So what my mom did was she took a dog leash and clipped it and tied it to a pair of handcuffs and then put it around the bed. And then whenever I would need to go to the bathroom, she would undo it. And then she had a way, because we were in the same bed, so she can tell if I would move or whatever, she'd wake up. And it was like that for 2 weeks. She put bells on the doors and then eventually put a padlock on the door, blacked out all the windows with tint, window tint.
I think someone has dispelled that all of the windows were blacked out. I'm pretty sure I saw a video. Somebody has proven that that's not true.
That's when she started hitting me, though.
Okay.
That's when
of course.
At this point, you're 18,
Mhm.
19, but she's telling you that you're 15.
Yes.
Your relationship with your mother, do you perceive her to still love you?
I didn't feel like it was love. I felt like it was a need. She needs me because she doesn't have anyone else.
Okay.
Because your mom's trying to, you're in your wild, well, you're still wild, but these teen years and that going into early adulthood, and she's off the hook, right? She's totally off the hook. And Dee Dee's trying to discipline her. And I don't feel like it was love. Well, yeah, sometimes when a parent is disciplining you, it is the best thing for you, obviously. But because you are a spoiled little brat, this is how you react.
And so it's after she tied me up, I gained enough trust to where I'm like, I'm not going to leave again. I'm not going to leave again. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to leave. So that trust was built up enough to be let off the chain. Well, then it's soon after I attempt to run away again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. So this is kind of just a minor thing, and this isn't the bombshell, but this is a minor, again, when we call and we find the lies and the contradictions, right? Let's take a look at this, what she said in her memoir about this really quick. And here she says, not soon after. So she was saying after she was untied from this situation, her wording was, not soon after, I tried to run away again, right? Yeah, that's not what you have in your memoir, though. And it is kind of significant when you start to think about it. Let me bring up the proof of this. Okay. First, I want to say the timeline here of events of this whole Dan situation. Hold on. This timeline here. She meets Dan in March 2011. This is how quick this relationship goes. She meets him in March 2011. The third week of April. So what? That's 6 weeks. She's running away to be with him. She's known the guy for 6 weeks only. And she's going to go run away to Arkansas with him. Okay. Then supposedly she's tied up between April 22nd and May 6th, right? That's the 2-week frame there, time frame. She would become unchained around May 6, 2011. So she's unchained. And by what? A couple weeks later only, she is shooting Dee Dee with a BB gun over this. So that's a total of 36 days, like basically between May 6th to June 10th. It's 36 days. Okay. So why I'm telling you 36 days and what we're talking about is the second attempt to run away corresponds with the BB gun incident. So what makes the BB gun incident happen? That Dee Dee, this is according to Gypsy, that Dee Dee finds her, that she is trying to run away again, that Dee Dee finds that she's packed her stuff. Dee Dee finds her packed stuff, confronts her, are you running away again? And that's when Gypsy picks up the BB gun and starts shooting her. Okay. So basically that happens from May 6th to when the BB gun incident happened. It's only like 36 days. So if Gypsy was so scared of her mom, if she was so frightened of her mom had her tied up for 2 weeks. She had gone through hell. She couldn't pee by herself. All this, Dee Dee wasn't feeding her right, she says in some accounts, right? Yet 36 days later, you're shooting her? I mean, that doesn't sound like you're scared of her to me, right? Okay, the other discrepancy is Gypsy says in her book, and I think I've got it over here. Let me see where I can find it. Okay, here. Okay. In her book, she says, maybe mama really had magic powers because listen to this, in the months leading up to my second escape attempt in 2012, what? I knew, by the way, she increased her surveillance of me. She sensed I was up to something. I couldn't even go to the bathroom without asking permission. It took, what? Months to regain mama's trust after she unleashed me from the bedpost. Okay, so in her memoir, she claims it's almost a year later. Okay, notice what happens after she talks about this. The blue highlighted portion, she's picking up the BB gun. So what's my point here? My point is it happened within 36 days. It didn't happen a year later. Why are you saying it took you months and months and months to regain your mom's trust? Why was she saying that in the memoir? Because she's trying to say, I had to build up my nerve when it wasn't. It happened within 36 days. Do you see what I'm saying? I know it's kind of hard to follow, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. She lied in the book. It wasn't months and months later because we have Dee Dee's hospital report. It was 36 days after she supposedly untied you from the bedpost, that you're shooting her with the BB gun. Yet in the memoir, she says, it took me months and months and months. And then I tried to run away again. And what year does she say? 2012. No, it was in 2011. Why the lie in the memoir? I think because in the memoir, she's trying to say that I had to regain her trust. And I think she's trying to say, it took me that long to build up the nerve because I was so scared of her after her tying me to the bedpost. Because it wouldn't make sense if she tied her to the bedpost and then 36 days later, she's picking up a gun and shooting her, right? No, I mean, okay. So that's what I'm trying to say. Regardless, it's a huge lie. It's a lie. It's a discrepancy. It's a major discrepancy from the memoir. Okay. In this interview, she says she catches herself and uses the phrase not soon after. Okay. All right. Let's continue.
But this time, like, she found, and looking back on it, I'm like, why pack a damn bag? Just get out of the freaking house. Because I kept packing bags. Like, let me pack a bag.
Right.
She found my bag. And so she knew I was going to run away again. And I owned up to it too. I was like, just let me leave and you'll never see me again. Just forget about me. Just let me go. And she's like, I won't and I can't. You're not leaving. And that's when I proceeded to take a BB gun. And I knew full and well it was a BB gun. It was not going to kill her. took a BB gun and
No, 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 no. That's not what you said before, though. That's not what you said before. And this is kind of a big deal, right? If she knew it was a BB gun or not, because in a different, we got a video on this one. In an interview, let me find it. She talks about, where is it? Let me see. Now can walk. Oh, maybe I have it over here. Yeah, here we go. Ready? Okay, so what did she just say? By the way, I knew it was a BB gun. I knew it was a BB gun. Why does she have to emphasize that? Because of what she said in this documentary.
I have it in my heart to deal with every single day.
When I shot my mother, I just remember thinking like, oh my God, did I just do that? What did I just do? A couple of them hit her, a couple of them hit the wall, but the wounds were superficial. They barely grazed her. That's when I realized it was a BB gun. And it made me feel relieved because I did not intend to kill her. But the point is I was shocked that I pulled the trigger at all.
Okay, right? I was so relieved. That's when after I shot her. Oh my God! Then the wounds were superficial, and that's when I found out it was a BB gun, and I was so relieved because I didn't intend to kill her. Well, so you thought it was a real gun, and ever since she said that, ever since she said the truth, because I think that was the truth, she's always backtracked and made sure she emphasizes, I knew it was a BB gun, right? She did that with the Kale Lowry interview, the same thing. But we got that clip, okay? And I tend to believe that clip. All right, let's continue.
And she came toward me and I freaked out and I released the BB gun. One hit her in the clavicle, one hit in the leg. They were
30 wounds, Gypsy. 30.
superficial wounds. You know, they broke the skin, but ultimately a Band-Aid covered it up.
A Band-Aid covered it up? She had to go to the hospital. And she didn't want to go to the hospital. You want to know why I know she didn't want to go to the hospital? Because she didn't want to report it to the police. Because again, Dee Dee's biggest fault, covering for Gypsy all the time, right? Her biggest fault, I would say, is that she just covered for her. And so, no, she didn't want to go to the emergency room because she didn't go the day it happened. She went the next day. She waited. And then she got scared because some of them were pretty big open wounds. We know that from the report. I've read the report, okay? And some of them, especially a couple on the scalp, were pretty big. And she kind of they knew she had to go in and get them, treated. And she told, and right there on the report, the hospital report, it says no police report. The nurse writes on it, no police report. Okay. And so, yeah, she didn't want to go to the hospital, but the way Gypsy minimizes it here, she put some Band-Aids on it. It's fine. One hitter here, one hitter here. We put some Band-Aids on it. I mean, seriously? You guys have seen the picture, right? You guys have seen the, yeah. Okay. All right.
And then after that happened, we both had this moment of sit on the bed, holy shit moment.
I think Dee Dee's holy shit moment was she was scared now of you big time. Like you were the abuser. And she was like, shit, this is my kid. My kid is abusing me. My kid tried to kill me.
And I was never the type to be violent, ever. I never yelled at my mom. I never hit my mom. It was at that moment that I realized that something in me snapped.
I highly doubt it. Yeah, you snapped. We've seen you snap.
In that big of a way.
And what was your mother's response?
I honestly feel like she never expected to be trapped in her own choices, her own
oh my God.
design.
She's blaming her mom for shooting her. Did you hear it? She's blaming her mom. Like she had to shoot. Like, look, it's her own choices. She got trapped by her own choices. What was I supposed to do? Not shoot her with the BB gun? Not try to kill her? Did you hear her? These people, they do slip, and Gypsy slips a lot. All right. She slips a lot.
Was falling apart in front of her. And I don't think that she realized that. And I don't mean this in any sort of mean way, but I don't think she realized I had the guts to stand up for myself in any meaningful way.
And so is it at this point where you then join the Christian dating site?
I did. About a year later.
Okay.
About a year later, I had joined the Christian website. And then the first thing that I noticed of Nick's profile is he likes to play video games.
Okay. You're chatting back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go through Nick, just so you guys know what's coming up. We're going to go through Nick. And during the Nick portion is where this bombshell happens. This bombshell that she leaves out. And and he doesn't ask about it. Okay. It's coming up. So get ready.
Did your mother become aware? No.
So I had a secret Facebook. I had, a secret Skype account.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have a conversation with him that I want to meet him. We want to meet each other in real life.
Oh, so wow, Gypsy. So how long had you and Nick been corresponding without having met?
It was like 2 years.
2 years.
It was like 2 years. Yeah.
You had never met?
Never met.
Okay.
No. Yeah. I mean, it was,
Didn't you watch The Act? I'm just kidding.
it's just like kind of like Skype calls and stuff like that all on the internet.
Okay.
And so we make a plan, and I'm like, listen, my mom is not going to just let me just date anybody. So maybe if she meets you, she could see what a nice person you are, and she'll like you. You could be my friend, and then like I can ask her if you could maybe be my boyfriend, and then we wouldn't have to hide or lie anymore. Like, so we think of this event, like where possibly could I be and you be, and I wanted to see the new Cinderella remake, the live action remake that came out in 2015. So we decide, okay, that's where we're going to meet up. So my mom and I are going to go see the movie, and you're going to be there too to see the movie, but we're not together. We're going to be like, we never met.
I see it.
Okay. So we're standing in line, comes the day, we're standing in line, getting popcorn and stuff like that. And he's there alone. But I didn't realize the optics of how that would look. Like, here's this guy that's alone, doesn't have kids, doesn't have a girlfriend, doesn't have a wife, nothing like that. Just want to see a little girl movie. I did not see how that would be weird.
Until you got there.
Until years later, I'm like, yeah, that was kind of creepy. Like, what were we thinking? But my mom called it. She's like, this guy is giving me weird vibes. And so we're in the auditorium, and my mom and I are sitting next to each other. Well, he comes sit next to me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My mom decides, hey.
Yeah, Tani, I saw your comment. I believe Mitch and I believed it was a trial run. So her having not only to meet him, and then she was, this whole pregnancy thing, she was going to have sex with him, but we also think because she definitely knew Nick had some handicap, right? That there was issues with Nick. She knew, maybe she didn't understand autism to that degree, but I think at this point she wanted her mom dead back in 2011, and I think she was going to use this too as a trial run. Can he get on the bus? Can he get here? Like, can I depend on him to get out here? Right. I think that was it also. So yeah.
This guy's kind of giving me the creeps. So she moved several seats down. I stay put. I'm sitting with him.
So if Dee Dee was like this crazy helicopter mom, this crazy, you can't date. I don't want you with boys. I don't want you. Why would she allow Gypsy to sit with him? Why? And this guy's actually a stranger at the movies, right? Yet, Gypsy acts like she was upset or something, but it just doesn't add up, right? It's like Dee Dee was probably like, whatever, go sit with the guy, right? I mean, it doesn't sound like Dee Dee really, if she really, really cared and she was really this crazed mother about no men, we will have no dating, we know she had rules for dating for Gypsy, but I think she was pretty attuned with Gypsy's issue with men in the first place. I think she was worried about her hypersexuality, probably. I don't know to what extent she knew about it. But that was the whole dating thing that, remember in one of the videos, one of the FOIA videos, Gypsy talks about how her mom had rules about, that it wasn't so much of an age for Gypsy for dating, but a maturity level that Dee Dee just didn't feel that she was mature enough. And so, yet Dee Dee was allowing her to sit next to this strange guy in a movie theater without pitching a fit or anything.
Moving. she gets pissed that I didn't move with her. So throughout the whole movie, you know, she's sitting there and I'm sitting over there with him. She's mad at me at this point. Like, I know I'm in trouble at this point.
Yes.
And he
This
and
doesn't
I had
make
previously
sense.
discussed that.
If you're in trouble, why aren't you just in trouble then at that point? Why doesn't she come over to you and say, get up and get over there? You're not sitting here. If that was my kid and I didn't want them to sit there, that's what I would do. I wouldn't like go steam, sit over there and act like a friend, no, I'm your mother. Get up and move your ass and get over here. Okay. So no, this just doesn't make sense.
We were going to have sex in the bathroom. So I go to the
like-
bathroom, to the men's bathroom.
He's like shaking his head. Did you see his face? He's like, okay, I guess that's what we're going to do.
Go to the handicap stall. He follows me in. We attempt to have sex. Doesn't work out.
Okay.
And I go back, sit next to my mom. She proceeds to take me to the bathroom on the opposite side. Slaps me across the face.
Where does this story fit in? Now, I don't think this is in the memoir. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it in the memoir that she says that Dee Dee takes her in the bathroom after the movie and slaps her in the face? Why didn't she just wait till, and here comes the bombshells coming up right here, okay? It's coming up. It's coming up.
And says, you were gone too long. What were you doing? So I was like, nothing. Of course I'm going to say
I don't
nothing.
remember this part.
So the movie ends. We leave. He takes a cab back to his hotel. And we have a huge argument at the house.
You and your mother.
Me and my mom.
Okay.
About how she got the creeps from this guy. Like,
Isn't she forgetting something here? What? Wait a minute. It's going to come to me in a minute. You get back from the movie theater. And what are you saying is happening here, Gypsy? What happens after the movie theater? Let's hear.
like why I didn't go sit with her, like the smallest little things would just kind of set her off.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, I'm sorry, I was just trying to make a new friend. You know,
You're having a little argument with your mom when you get back from the movie theater. Anything else happen? Any other incident? Kind of a major incident that's in your memoir? What else happened, Gypsy? Tell us.
I was doing my best to kind of like bridge that connection because I really wanted both of them in my life.
Uh-huh.
I wanted my mom in my life
Okay.
and I wanted Nick in my life.
Okay.
And she was not budging. She
Mhm.
got a bad vibe from him from the beginning.
You and Nick then just continue messaging back and
Mhm.
forth.
Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. Wait a minute. What is she forgetting, guys? What is she forgetting? What is she forgetting? The shed. Her mom locked her in the effing shed. The spiders, the dirt floor. She was so scared, right? She was so scared. Where's the shed story? What happened to the shed story, Gypsy? It's in your memoir. You've told it many times, like you tell the story about your mom locking you up, the bedpost. Where's the shed story? Why aren't you telling Paul how your mom was so horrible and so deranged after the movie theater that she wheeled you over to the shed and threw you in and locked you in there and didn't come and get you until noon the next day? Oh, because that got debunked? Oh, wait a minute. Let's refresh all of our memories, shall we? Maybe Paul would like to know about the shed incident. There we go. Thanks to 1980 Millennial. Of course, most of you guys know this. Gypsy leaves out the shed incident now in this interview when she is giving all the details. This is an over 2-hour interview, and this would be a major thing, a major abuse incident. Don't you guys think? You wouldn't forget this story, would you? No, I don't think so. But we know now from Facebook messages that came out in the FOIA documents that Gypsy was messaging people that night. She was messaging Nick's friend, Allie Noble, best night ever. Okay. She was also messaging Nick later on. And there's the timestamps. Friday, March 13th, 2:49 a.m. Friday, March 13th, 6:54 a.m. Meaning she couldn't be in, meaning she could not have been in the shed. And so when I'm listening to this interview and we get to this point and Gypsy just, what does she say? She talks at her mom. We got back from the movie theater and we had a little disagreement. We had a little argument about, she just didn't like him. You had a little argument. What about she threw you in the shed? No more. Are we done? We're not doing it. No. Oh. I was like floored. I shouldn't have been. I'm like, oh, okay. Is that what we're going to do now? It's in your memoir, girl. It's in your memoir. Okay. But nope, wasn't in this interview. Just kind of went over that major abusive incident, allegation against her mother, as big as being tied to the bedpost, in my estimation, right? Was the shed incident. Those were the two big incidents that she claimed that her mother did to her. All right, let's continue. No shed.
Continue messaging.
And you feel like this is your boyfriend still.
Yeah.
And then your relationship with your mother, does it continue to deteriorate from there?
Continues to deteriorate. And we had previously, knocked around the idea of murder.
You did.
And it was all stemming from a conversation where he's like, it was an argument between me and my mom. Stuff got physical. She hit me. I told him she hit me. And he's like, I'm going to protect you from anyone. I said, anyone? He said, anyone. I said, even my mom? And he said, yes, even your mom. Like, I'll take her out too. And never thinking that was actually going to happen.
Okay. So for you.
Right. Not right. Yeah, we all believe that.
It wasn't a serious thought.
It wasn't a serious thought until after what happened at the movie theater.
And the shed incident, right? Because that's what you say in your memoir.
Okay. So, really? So after the movie theater.
This guy's clueless. He's like, huh? What? Huh?
Then at that point, help me understand how it became a serious thought after the movie theater.
Because that's when I started to realize, like, no matter what I do, I will never be able to be my own person, never have my own freedom, never make my...
I thought you were scared that she was going to like kill you medically. I thought the reason you had to murder your mother, it was me or her. The throat incident, which he'll get to in a minute. But notice when she really talks about why she murdered her mother, it's about her being in a relationship. I'll never be able to do this. Exactly what she's going to say right here. This is why her mother needed to be murdered.
Choices. I'll never get married. Like,
this
all of the thoughts of, like, what is my life going to be like in the next 20 and 30 years?
This is it.
Is it going to be like this right here? Is my life going to continue to be this for the rest of my life? My youth gone. Any happy moments of...
See how there's some emotion there behind her? This is why Dee Dee needed to be murdered. Okay. Because she was like, what am I going to have to do? Like, be with my mom for my whole life? When is it going to end? When is it going to stop? Well, just get out of the wheelchair, pack your bag, and get the hell out of the house. Okay? How about try that? Like every other, person does when they become an adult.
Future children, anything like this. How long is this going to continue? And that thought kept going in my head over and over and over again. So, yeah.
That was the thought in her head over and over and over again. Not, I'm scared for my life. Not, I'm being medically abused. She's giving me all this medication. She's drugging me out. No. You didn't like that. She didn't like this guy from the Cinderella show or whatever. She didn't like Dan Glidewell, 36-year-old guy trying to come on to 18-year-old girl. You were resentful. How dare she stop you? And you could have left though. You were an adult.
That's the desperate thought of, I want my mom out of the picture.
Right.
And it's like, I didn't want her dead necessarily.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
necessarily. If she would have went to prison, I would have been all the happier. But
If she would have went to prison, I would have been happy. I mean, it can't make this stuff up with this person.
that, unfortunately, was a conversation he and I had.
Okay. Okay. So you had it.
Mhm.
And also, I'm curious, Gypsy, at this point, you are roughly how old? Because I know age-wise,
Mhm.
you don't know exactly.
I was 23.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
23.
You were
And dude, 23. Okay. Most people have left home by 23. Okay. What the hell?
23.
That's right.
So this is even more fascinating because you're an adult
Mhm.
at this point,
Mhm.
but you still feel as if you are trapped
Yes.
in your mother's home.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Are you not understanding, Guy, that she's a psychopath now? Are you not gonna get grasp at now? Because a lot of people thought she was a kid, like a teenager when she did this because of the way she looked. That was part of the myth built up around Gypsy in this Munchausen thing. Oh, she's like 16 or 17, and her mom was doing all this medical stuff to her. Poor thing. Look at that poor little thing with her head shaved. Yeah, people felt bad for her. Like, oh God, yeah, I felt bad for her mom, but no, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
you'll never be able to leave it.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
Okay. The relationship with
I don't understand you'll never be able to leave. Just get up and go. Okay. I don't understand why we can't do that.
Nick as well is, how would you characterize it? Because I've seen moments or excerpts where it's been characterized as abusive.
Mhm.
But how do you characterize that relationship?
Toxic.
It was toxic.
Toxic. Very, very toxic.
Okay. How so?
Our personalities were not a good fit. Our backgrounds was not a good fit. I say, and I say this in my book, you know, Nick was the car, I was the key. He was the gasoline, I was the fire. Separately, probably not dangerous. Together, catastrophic. Because he brought a component to me and I brought a component to him that resulted in tragedy. His conversations with me was predominantly about sex. It was predominantly about overpowering a woman, because he had an interest in this BDSM,
Oh God. Here we go.
master slave relationship, and he
Mhm.
had this with his ex girlfriends as well. So it was before me.
No, he didn't. Now, he could have possibly. Okay. But I have proof that he's talking to one girlfriend and he's talking about he's just gotten into this dark sexual activity. I don't know if I have it or not. Yeah. So down here and just really quick, he had a couple of ex-girlfriends, but my point here is she's trying to say that he brought this BDSM stuff, that he was into the BDSM stuff. And we have to distinguish about a couple of different things here. Here's Nick at the very bottom, Megan, but that's another something. I have gotten into darker sexual activity that I'm not sure you would be able to handle, since, well, if you were with me, it would be challenging for you to handle. This is one of his ex-girlfriends. So obviously, with this ex-girlfriend, he wasn't doing it. Okay. Now I need to go find out about the other ex-girlfriends, but the way she's going to portray it here is that this was all him, and she was like this virginal creature that I didn't even know what that was. BD what? Okay, and we know from Dan Glidewell's testimony, right? Dan Glidewell's testimony. Here it is. She was the one who introduced him to power exchange role playing, however he words it here. This is Dan's testimony, excuse me, under oath. So you were the one that introduced it to Dan Glidewell. Okay. I'm not saying, and I'll get into Nick's weird stuff in a minute, but it wasn't this. It wasn't this. All right.
During me and after me. So this is not something I brought to the relationship. This is something that he
brother.
had a thing for. And I had not heard of this sort of master slave relationship until.
Yes, you'd had. You were all over Twilight. You were all over 50 Shades of Grey. Yes, you were obsessed with it. What the hell?
Meeting him. And so I did what I could to fulfill that fantasy for him. And that included making videos that we would send back and forth to each other. Those videos have now been released to the public.
Is that what, because of the court case or for
Yes.
other reasons? Okay.
Yes. They are quite humiliating because these videos were intimate. They're not meant for the public. They were meant for Nick and only at the time. But anything from, doing sexual acts to saying really disturbing things that I definitely regret later on now.
Right. I think what's important for, I think us all to understand too, is the context, because from what I understand is you had no one else.
Right.
So literally your world revolved around then your mother and Nick,
Mhm.
two people that you are desperately in need of loving you. Do you believe they loved you?
I believe my mother loved me to an extent. I think that she didn't know how to
To an extent. Like, it killed her. It killed her. She loved you so much. Oh my God.
show love. I think that unfortunately, she didn't get the mental health help
Oh
that she
my
would have needed
God.
to understand
No, you needed the mental health help, okay?
how to love a child and raise a child on her own.
What? Didn't know how to love a child? Oh my God. Didn't wean her off the bottle. But I mean, she was overindulgent.
Going through the childhood that she had. Nick,
Oh,
I do not
brother.
believe he loved me one bit. I believe that I was
When are we going to talk about that Nick was level 2 autistic? When are we going to bring that up? Is that going to be a part of this or, oh no, we're going to skip over that whole part. Skip over all of that. Just mind blowing. Mind blowing.
someone who was in a very specific situation, vulnerable situation, to fill out his fantasies.
He was the vulnerable one from you. He was the one that was actually on, SSI disability. He was the one on disability, not you. He was vulnerable. He was autistic level 2. I'm not excusing him for what he did, you guys. I'm saying for her to paint herself as being vulnerable from him, it's gross. That's just ridiculous, right? It's just ridiculous. Sorry, I just get heated in these parts.
He often had fantasies that were very disturbing.
Could you go over and saying what they were?
Rape fantasies. And he was looking for someone who was not worldly and experienced.
Well, he wasn't worldly or experienced. He didn't have good, social cues. He couldn't work at the pizza place because was socially inept. That was how his autism manifested. Autism is a spectrum, as we all know. But for Nick, he was very socially inept. Ah.
So someone in a very vulnerable state to live out these fantasies with or to.
God. Okay, really quick, because as the unbiased person here with the evidence, Nick had rape fantasies. Okay, not BDSM fantasies, not vampire fantasies. Okay, very specific rape fantasies. All right, and not that and. Did a lot of research into this, and actually, Mitch worked as a domestic violence detective for many years. So he also knew about this rape fantasies and people that have rape fantasies versus people who become rapists. Just because you have rape fantasies has nothing to do with becoming a rapist. It's actually the opposite. Okay. If this rape type of stuff, fantasies turn you on, that's different because rape is actually a power play. It's a violent act. It has nothing to do with like getting turned on sexually. Rape is not when a rapist does it, they aren't turned on sexually. Okay. It's pure like stabbing somebody. It's a pure violent act. Has nothing to do with getting off, getting aroused, having an orgasm. Nothing. So that's different from someone that has like rape fantasies. Okay. Like they fantasize about it and that turns them on. That is basically Nick's deal. All right. The second thing you got to know about Nick, and it's going to come up more when I start showing receipts because she's going to say things here that are totally untrue. Nick was pretty much impotent. Okay. He had major issues that way. And that's going to come up too, because she is going to full on accuse him of rape here in a minute. Okay.
And like I said, it would be one thing if, I brought a certain element into the relationship that was equally as disturbing, like if those were my desires, but it wasn't. And before me, his ex-girlfriends did warn me.
Okay,
There was an ex-girlfriend that did warn me.
No, Gypsy, you sought out the ex-girlfriend. She didn't say anything like that. And there's one video, I think some of us know of it, I don't have it, where she's crying because this girl, Gypsy, like she does with the exes, how she gets worked up about the exes of her current love, person she's in a relationship with. She sought out the ex on Facebook, and Nick got super mad. She's like, "What are you doing? Leave her alone." And Gypsy's like crying, "I'm sorry. I know you told me not to contact her." Okay. No one contacted you, Gypsy. Jeez.
Me that he has very disturbing behavioral patterns, and I brushed it off like she's just a jealous ex-girlfriend, and I completely ignored it. And then until it was too late. And then also post our relationship.
Until it was too late. What was too late? What did he do to you? What did he do to you? What horrible thing did Nick do to you? Do you see how she's framing this? Why? Because she's going to want this guy to think, and the people watching this don't know about her, that she is also a rape survivor. Yes, guys, she's going to do it. She's going to go there. Just wait. But don't worry. I got it covered. I got the receipts to prove she's lying 100%.
He's went on to have another relationship, prison relationships, and where he continues the same cycles over and over again.
Okay. Going to the crime, what I understand was a catalyst for you also. Was it your throat that was going to be?
It was going to be like biopsy explore.
He has to bring this up. It's funny, right? Because if this was like the reason my mom had to be murdered, Paul, let me tell you what it was. No, he has to bring it up because he's going by the book. And the first time we ever hear about this story about the throat, by the way, is in her memoir, 9 years after the murder. We've never heard about the throat cutting thing. Never heard about it during when she got her plea deal. Never heard it during Mommy, Dead or Dearest. Never heard it during Dr. Phil interview or any other interviews. It wasn't until the memoir came out is the first time this throat story happens. Okay? Just know that.
Explored, and they were gonna, have to do more things to my throat, but on my voice box this time.
Okay, so you were, so if you can take.
And it was canceled. There was not the surgery. This was the pre-clinic. The pre-clinic appointment, May 1st, 2015. When's Dee Dee murdered? June 10th, 2015. So 6 weeks before the murder, Gypsy was going to go to an appointment pre-clinic, like the first appointment to look into this. Okay. And what are they looking into? Vocal cord dysfunction syndrome. I have it written there. Vocal cord dysfunction syndrome. Not a surgery. Nowhere near a surgery. This would be the first appointment with a specialist to look at her throat. And this first appointment canceled. Never to be rescheduled again. Yeah. Okay. Tell us about it.
Take me to that, because it's like that was an important moment for you.
Yes, like it was a moment where I was like, I already had throat surgery already. And it was a rough surgery. So the thought of going through another procedure that I'm like, well, this time you're gonna start messing with my voice. And that's terrifying. I felt like, how much more are you gonna take from me?
And so
the difference between her demeanor here talking about this fake throat surgery and when she was talking about how long was I going to have to wait? What was I going to, right? When she was really talking about why she really murdered her mom, right? Yeah, it's different. It's different. The emotion is different. She doesn't care about this because it wasn't even real. There's no throat surgery scheduled. You didn't even go to the first appointment.
June 10th, 2015. If you can take me to that day or even the preceding day and walk me through it step by step, what you were thinking, what was going on for you.
So I knew that that was the day. I had been texting with Nick. He said, you might want to start saying your goodbyes. And so
we're going to go to 1:24:43. So just so you guys know, if you're planning, thinking I'm going to go through the whole, I won't be able to make it through the whole thing. We're going to do another 20 minutes of this interview. Stick around because it is interesting. Okay. I just want to let you guys know. And then we'll do the second half in a couple days.
I just remember my mom and I said, we're going to paint our nails. We're going to watch a movie. And I wanted to make it a good night. Like I wanted to make it a night that I felt like I would remember her for the good. So she cooked dinner. She ate her dinner. I painted her nails. She painted my nails. Picked out a movie and laid down. She took a little longer to fall asleep, and then I fell asleep.
I want you guys to notice the lack of emotion here. I don't know about you guys, but when most people are recounting a very traumatic event immediately, when they have to start talking about it, they almost can't talk about it. It just, I've had that experience many times. Hate it. You have to recount something, right? And here, the way she goes through this night, the way she goes through the last moments with her mother, if this was like a traumatic event to her, there's no way she could be talking so freely about it with no sign of emotion really on her face about it. And that truly is a sign of a psychopath. Allegedly.
Then I woke up shortly, like 5 minutes after she fell asleep. And I texted him that she fell asleep. And I said, the gloves are on the porch. And he's like, okay, I'm taking a cab over. And he didn't knock on the door. He texted me, he's like, I'm here. So I get up out of bed and I walk over, open the door. The first thing he said when he comes to the door is, this bitch is dead. And I told him, be quiet, be quiet. And he's like, where's the knife? So I hand him the knife and he said, get your bleeping ass to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, I close the door, I lock the door.
Trying to make him seem like so dominant and so scary. And, like he was the one making her do this, right? The abusive boyfriend is what she's trying to portray here.
Behind me. And I just kind of get into the fetal position and I cover my ears. And that's what happened.
If and at any point you don't want to discuss this, we can move on. A few questions though that I have.
Does she seem to be in distress talking about it? Does she seem distressed? No. Isn't that shocking to you, dude, or not? No? Okay. Because he's even saying, if there's any time you don't want to talk about this, because to most people, it would be difficult to talk about. To her, she's just talking like it's a list of what she's going to go buy at the store. And then we did this, and then we did this, and then we did this.
Is so going into that day, it sounds like over the last maybe you've known Nick now for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
You have discussed murder previously with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's had fantasies of raping, murdering.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
How did you know? Why did you believe that it was actually going to happen on this day?
I honestly didn't think that he was going to go through with it.
Oh my God.
Until it actually happened. And then after it happened, there was a point where I didn't process what happened.
Oh my God.
He was walking around the house and talking at a normal voice tone. And I was like, shh, you're going to wake her up. Like there was a level of distance from the situation where like she was dead in the other room. And I'm still thinking, I'm afraid she's going to wake up, see you in the house and, punish me in some type of way.
Oh God.
Did you go to see your mother?
No, I did not go in that room. Nick actually anytime, because her room is like right here.
I'm not going to get into this right now. I just want to get through this part, but there is lots of speculation that she was in the room. There's a lot of that did she even help with the act? There's even one of the detectives on the case who has said, we can't 100% say we know that she didn't, but then she took the plea deal. So I'm not going to get into that at length. I'm just going to keep going here, but I just wanted to mention that to you guys, that if you guys were wondering, yes, there's been speculation about her being in the room, about her going in the room, after at least going in there after, when here she's saying that he was, not letting her see in and stuff. And I tend to believe she was at least in that room at some point, for sure. For sure.
My room was right here, and then there's the hall. And so he would block her room. So anytime I was walking in and out of my room, he would block the area, so I couldn't see.
Okay. Now, I know that you're aware of how severe the murder was, and I understand he used the knife that you provided him, and that the stabbing was so severe that it almost severed her head. Did he talk about the murder at all?
No.
There was no discussion.
No discussion of it. Not after the fact. No.
Okay. Did you, when in the bathroom? Because I would imagine there was a tussle. There was a fight that ensued. Did you hear anything?
Yes.
You did. What can you say? What did you hear?
I heard screaming, and it was like horrible sound. It was a horrible sound. It was screaming. It was shock. I almost think I heard, "Who are you?" was asked, and I am right, because according to some of the transcripts of Nick's testimony and other inmates that had talked to him, she had asked, "Who are you?" and he responded, "I am death." So I do know that was probably what I heard. And I remember her calling out for my name, and like I wanted to go and help her. Like I felt like I wanted to go and help her, but I was terrified at the same time. Like my body was paralyzed. I couldn't move. And I just kept remembering, breathe. Remember to just breathe. And I kept telling myself in that mind, just breathe. And I was so focused on like trying to breathe and block it out. And I just remember one sharp scream and then nothing after that. And then I realized it was over. And then he came to the bathroom door and knocked for me to open up the door.
What did he say to you?
He didn't, I don't think, say anything. He had cut his finger. And so he wanted me to bandage him up. And he wanted me to be completely naked when I opened up the door. And so I was completely naked. And he wanted me to hug him. So there was this sort of embrace.
Here it
where
comes now.
It was,
Here comes the rape stuff.
I was in a state of shock. But I couldn't believe what happened.
And now I better understand, knowing his previous desires and BDSM and what he had said to you previously. Now I understand why he said, when I come to the door, you should be naked. I understand that he then assaulted you.
Yes. That specifically.
Assaulted her. Oh boy, Gypsy. Oh boy. I got some receipts.
Was really difficult, because prior to having the crime happen, he wanted to assault my mom. That was his fantasy. He wanted to assault my mom. I felt like that was too far. I was like, no, I will not, do it to me instead. And he said, fine, that's the price you have to pay then. If you don't want me to do that to your mom, you're going to have to let me do it to you. And I agreed. So come to that point, keep in mind, I was a virgin. Come to that point, I guess I agreed to something I didn't fully understand. And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
And what's even more horrible is I had to testify in court.
Here we go.
And I'm going to be open and honest and say that I had to basically say he didn't rape me, because he got me to agree to it. So even though I said stop, I said, no, stop, you're hurting me.
Okay, just stop. You stop now. Here on the screen. Nicholas Godejohn has disputed Gypsy Rose counted as a counter. Yeah, not only that, you know who else has disputed it? Gypsy herself. Gypsy herself, several times. I'm tired of this accusation. Okay, I'm tired of it. I can't with her. All right, here we go. Let me take your comments off for a minute, because I really want to read this, because this is Gypsy. I can't get into much detail, but let's just say you've watched enough of my story to know that my first and only sexual experience was awful. He never got there, and neither did I. His H game was the equivalent to a dog chewing on a steak. Same sound too, and he couldn't get it up ever. So a kind of virginish, therefore still have questions that pertain to the topic. Here's the other one. Now she's going to talk about all of their sexual experiences, meaning her and Nick. He and I had sex 3 times, and it was horrible. He didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't get it up. Didn't do anything right. I'm pretty sure he didn't even know where to find my, and then she's talking about clitoris, okay? That's what she wrote. I just can't express enough how disappointing my first experiences were. And he certainly never made me reach euphoria. But sure, I faked it. Does it sound like anywhere there? Does it sound like anywhere there that he raped her? Where's the rape? You're saying he couldn't even sustain an erection, right? She says it several places in the prison emails, several different locations, to several different people, the same story. But yet she was assaulted. It was horrible. She was raped, you guys. Don't you guys know? Well, why wouldn't she put that when she's writing to people? I mean, I would figure if you were seriously raped, right, that there wasn't something you would forget. You would say, you know what? After he murdered my mom, he raped me, right? You would be writing this. The 3 times we had sex, you know, he actually raped me. And if he raped you after the murder, what about the Browning video? How does that happen? After you've just been assaulted a couple hours later, a couple hours after this horrendous rape? What's going on a couple hours after the horrendous rape? Well, here's what's going on a couple hours after this horrendous rape.
Hi, honey. I'm feeling it. He's eating a brownie. But later he will be eating me.
Okay. Sorry, I was vaping. All right. So we know that, right? We also know that Nick testified, well, not testified, during his interrogation, he also goes over their sexual experiences. Let's see if it matches up with some of the things Gypsy has written about in the past.
It was the biggest thing I can remember about it. We had a condom on at the time.
Okay.
And I wasn't used to them at all. It was very
Floor?
Yeah, onto the floor because there's too much of it on there. I mean,
Okay.
it's like the ones that was like part a pillow but part also a stuffed animal at the same time. We left that on the bed just in case you needed it.
So now he's going to talk about their sexual encounter after the murder.
Any comfort with it.
Was there was Dee making any noise, or was Dee dead by then?
She was probably long gone by then.
Long gone by then, by the
Yeah.
time you guys are having sex?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you have sex, do you ejaculate? Like does semen come out of your penis?
I think I may have like too much what's the word I'm looking for? Stamina or endurance.
The word is, he's saying stamina. The word is he's having issues, right? He's having problems. I'm not trying to throw shade at him either. This is just matter of fact, factual stuff about this case. All right. That Nick and, one video I go into like the type of, fantasies he had and the level 2 autism he had. And there's been a study with men that have level 2 autism and their sexual issues They have sex. Some of them, a lot of them have issues in bed. They do. And one of them is exactly what goes through. He has a hard time maintaining an erection, and he has a hard time with having an orgasm at all. And so but basically it's the problem is, well, he's saying I had too much stamina. Okay. It wasn't stamina.
Something like that, because
Okay.
it takes her a lot to even get me close.
Okay, so it takes a long time for you to get there.
Yeah.
Did you get there that night?
No.
Okay, so you wasn't able to
Nope.
ejaculate.
Not that time.
Okay. Was you, at that time during the movie theater, was you able to?
I got close to, but I wasn't able to do it though.
Okay.
So her account in her prison emails was correct, that he couldn't sustain the erection. It's what he's saying here too, okay. So that's why there's corroborating evidence here between what she writes in the prison emails and what he says during the interrogation. Yet now she is like triple downing on this. He assaulted me. He raped me. Why? Because she wants to seem like this victim. Not only a victim of Dee Dee, but the victim of Nick. Okay.
But because I previously agreed to it, now I'm confused. What is consensual?
I thought consent is given and removed in a moment's notice.
I thought so too, but apparently not in the court's eyes.
So because you had what verbally or in a text said that you were open to having sex, that gave him open consent.
Yep. And in the eyes of the court, they feel the same way too. Because I told the court, I said stop. And they said, did he rape you? And they have evidence that I agreed to it. So I said no, knowing full and well that he did.
Well, this is in court. This is in what state was this? This is
Missouri.
This is in Missouri. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a horrendous law there. And so after the assault, how did you feel in that moment? If you can go back.
The
It
assault.
was also, you have to understand that there was this assault, and yes, there was the crime. But Nick had also claimed that he has multiple personalities.
Oh my God, here we go.
So during this whole time, he's switching back and forth between personalities.
What?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Split.
Yes, I
Okay,
have.
it was like that, where you can just change just like that. So the person that murdered my mother, his name is Victor, not Nick. Okay.
What? Okay. Okay. Just a little bit more.
Person who assaulted me is Victor, not Nick. So in my mind, these are two completely different people.
What is she talking about? And I've got something to show you on this.
I'm not looking at the person that just assaulted me and Nick is being the same person. I'm thinking, okay, one means to hurt me, but also save me. And the other one is just, the Nick that I had been talking to for 2+ years.
I see it.
So I was compartmentalizing at the time.
Okay. And at the time, did you believe that he was multiple people in essence?
Yes.
Okay, you did. Okay.
I fully believed it. Like I said, I grew up with a mom that heard voices.
Oh, you thought he was two different people. Are you kidding me? Get out of here, Gypsy. Get out of here. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what this would have looked like. Because we have video of what it looked like. We know how he's. Okay. Let's take a look.
Master Victor said, "Natty, love and adore you, my love and adore you both."
Okay, you're gonna hear him go from his Victor voice into his Nick persona, and she's telling us, they were like, that movie Split. It's like that. It's like they're like two different people. It's so weird. It's so it's comical. It's freaking comical. There's no way she thought that. No one would think that with this ridiculous stuff. Okay? All right, here we go.
Good night for now, and here he is. Hey, I'm on cam. Oh, wait, you just told me I'm on cam. Hey, honey.
Okay, I'm going to back it up. So he's going to go from this weird voice to this, "Hi, honey." This is the split. This is how he is. So it's just amazing how he would have fooled anyone. I mean, it's like two different two different people. I mean, I totally believed he was like two different people. It was so scary, right? Okay, let's watch again. Let's watch him go from the one persona to the next persona. Okay.
I love and adore you both. Deeply. Always will. Stay obedient to me as you always have been. Answer everything I said on this video. And answer everything I said on the one before this. Know that I said that.
Back it up. Okay, hold on. You guys want me to back it up? Back it up to the Nick clip. We heard something. In this clip, someone text me what you want me to do. Go back to Nick's interrogation. Oh, Nick's interrogation. Okay, hold on. I'll go back. Hold on.
Okay. Did you get? And so you got close. Did you get?
Probably long gone by then.
Long gone by then. By the
Yeah.
time you guys are having sex.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you have sex, do you ejaculate? Like does semen come out of your penis?
I think I may have like too much, what's the word I'm looking for? Stamina or endurance or something like that, because it takes her a lot to even get close.
Okay, so it takes a long time for you to get there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to read the text. Hold on. They are begging you to go back to where he talks about the stuffed animals on the bed. Oh, the stuffed animals. Okay, I'll go back. Stuffed animals. Here we go.
When you were at the movie. Okay, so after that, and you guys decide, okay, now we've got packing to do. What do you guys do then? All right. Is there a reason you didn't feel pleasure? Got blankets on it? Is her bed on the floor? What kind of bed does she have?
It was, the biggest thing I can remember about her bed is, we had a condom on at the time.
Okay.
And I wasn't used to them at all, because it was very
Floor? Or?
Yeah, onto the floor, because there's too much of it on there. I mean,
Okay.
it's got the ones that was like part a pillow, but part also a stuffed animal at the same time. We left that on the bed just in case you needed any comfort with it.
Was there
So something about the stuffed animal. This is just for so you guys know, this isn't the whole interrogation. This is a clip that Mitch and I made for one of our videos. So I'm not moving it around like that. So I can't, this is just the clip. So David Blanchard said the stuffed animals were all perfect on the bed as if no one had slept there. I think after they do it, he talks about them putting the stuffed animals back on the bed before they left, right? All right, let me see what you guys say. I can't see. Hold on, guys. When he talks about on the bed the stuffed animals after sex, putting them back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure after they have sex, they put the stuffed animals back. I've seen that testimony. Is that what you guys are talking about? Is there a problem with that or what? Oh, it's not the Barney's, guys. He knew, but he ain't seemed eating. Barney was half pillow and half stuffed animal. She claimed to hear screaming. Can I get the link to come up? About the stuffed animals on the bed. I mean, I'm not sure what the point is. Let me see. What are you guys trying to say? Oh, that the Barney wasn't on the. Are we talking about the Barney? Because what I can do is I'm gonna end pretty soon. If you guys email me, we can do a whole thing on it on the next live in a couple days. So why don't we do that instead of me trying to figure out what you guys are trying to say? Number one, I don't have the whole interrogation up in the studio right now. I'd have to go find it and bring it back, and that would take a lot of time, you know? So if you guys want to, I really would love to go over this with you guys, whatever you guys are trying to hone in on the stuffed animals and all that. It's not the Barney. It's not Dee Dee's bed. It's Gypsy's bed. Nick is describing Gypsy's bed, not Dee Dee's. Yeah, he's talking about Dee Dee's bed. I mean, Gypsy's bed. They had sex on Gypsy's bed, according to Nick. They were on Gypsy's bed. So according to him, okay. So there's nothing else I can do right now about this. I can't, I mean, I've been going for almost 3 hours. So we're going to leave this part here, and someone will kindly email me about it. They think she had sex on Dee Dee's bed. Yeah, I've heard the rumors about possibility that they had sex in Dee Dee's room or on the floor or on the bed. I've heard all of that stuff. Yeah, I have. I've heard all of those rumors. If you guys want me to look into that, I can. Mitch and I can look into that and see what we think about it. But I've heard all of the rumors. Yeah, I've heard all the allegations, I guess is what I'm saying. So, Nick says one thing, they had it on Gypsy's bed, on her stuffed animals were on the bed. There's some people that think they did it in Dee Dee's room. There's some people that think they did it on the floor in Dee Dee's room. Am I bringing all of this stuff up, right? I think this is what we're getting at. They think she had sex on Dee Dee's bed and put Barney there for comfort after sex. Right. So I will go over this on our next live. I promise you. I will get into the Barney. I will get into what I think about where they had sex. If there's evidence, if there's any evidence that they had sex on the floor by Dee Dee's bed, I will go over that, what I can find. I promise you guys that. Okay. All right. I hope you guys are happy with that, because we will get to it, because I can't go through this whole interview tonight anyways, but we're almost to the end part here of that. So sorry, I was kind of confused there. I hope you guys are good. All right, let's get back to the interview. Okay. Right.
Saw things. So I was pretty gullible to just believe about anything.
Okay. Now I see. So then what do you two do at this point?
So we go back because he was staying at a hotel nearby. So we go back to the hotel, and I also had been self-medicating. I had developed a addiction to opiates. So I was taking
So to her, she does the brownie video because she's high. She's high. I don't care how high you are. After you murdered your mother and you were just brutally raped, the brownie video happens? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't care what opiates you were taking or what Xanax you were taking. I don't care if you were smoking crack. Okay? The brownie video wouldn't happen after being brutally raped and you just murdered your mother.
Xanaxes and Vicodins all together, and I was very, very high after the fact. Ordering pizza, giggling, laughing, not a care in the world.
She doesn't talk about the brownie video, and has he not seen the brownie video? No.
And this is in the house?
No.
In the hotel?
In the hotel.
He doesn't even know where it's at.
Okay,
The next day.
And so you both left your mother's body in the house?
Yep.
Was there thoughts on we're going to cover this up, or the thought was there was no thought?
There was no thought.
It was just
live, and every step was not planned. It was literally after it happened, it was run to different state. Forget about it. It didn't exist.
Okay. So you went to the hotel, ordered pizza. You're just
Chilling,
watching shows, having a good time. And so then 24 hours at a certain point you post, or who so one of the two of you post. You post. Okay. And what do you post?
So we were already back in Wisconsin at this time. That's where he lived.
Okay.
And I logged into my mom's Facebook account because I did not like the idea of her just being there. I felt very unsettled, very uncomfortable with it. Like that level of remorse, and just like, I want her found. She deserves a proper burial. So I want her found. So I log into her Facebook account, and I think back to what he said when he came in the house. The bitch is dead. So that's what I put. My mom hardly ever cussed, especially around people. So that's what I put to seem alarming. So the authorities could go and find her, and then she could be given a burial.
What about, did you discuss that with Nick to post?
No.
Or that was just you?
I'm pretty sure that was just me.
Okay.
Pretty
Did it draw
sure.
the authorities?
It did.
Okay.
Ultimately, the goal that I wanted to have her found
My
happened.
goal.
Okay.
My goal
So
happened.
she's found by the police.
Jesus.
All right.
She's so
Then what
coward.
happens to you, Nick?
They think that I was kidnapped. I was missing. So to the authorities, I was missing. Now also you have to understand that my brain was not functioning in a logical way, because I went around the house before we left the scene, taking down all the pictures.
Oh, you were logical. You were more than logical. You're a cold stone murderer. Okay. It wasn't like, I was so emotional. I didn't know what was going. No. You had planned this to a T. To a T. To a T.
Of me thinking that I would not exist if there would just be no pictures of me around the house.
Okay.
Didn't make sense at all. So days go by, they think I'm missing. Then all of a sudden they track the IP address to his house.
From the post.
From the post.
That you made. Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. Because whoever posted that was aware of what happened.
Exactly.
Okay.
I was not aware of technology that smart at all. So they track the IP address, and then the next morning we wake up to the sound of a barking dog, which was actually the canine unit, and 2 police squads surrounding the house in armored vehicles.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And I told him, I was like, "What do I say? Like, what do I say? What do I do?" And he said, "You're gonna tell the police that your mom kicked you out, that you were kicked out, and your mom got mad at you, so you left."
Okay. Notice how we're almost done for tonight, but notice how she says, he told me this is what I was going to say. He's in charge, right? He's like, what are we going to, she said, I told her, Hannah, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And he says, this is what we're going to do. Like, she's acting like Nick is taking charge now. And Nick is going to tell her, you're going to say that, what did she say? You're going to say that your mom, what did she say? That you ran away, something about that. Let me go back.
Sure. Headed to the police station. What are you thinking? Is it that?
Because I got a big receipt on
you took
this.
the photos down and
I was honestly terrified for Nick. I was terrified for him because at that point I didn't see how I can get in any trouble. I'm like, I just had a conversation with him,
Yes.
So in my mind I was definitely downplaying my part.
Okay. So you thought you get to the station, he would be
in trouble, and I told him, I was like, I had stole money out of my mom's safe. It was like $5,000. And with that money, I was like, I'm gonna get you the best lawyer possible. We're talking like O.J. Simpson, amazing lawyer. Because I had no concept of money, and how much things cost. So, I'm still fully in love with Nick at this point.
Yes.
I don't want him to be in trouble.
I think I went forward. Okay. So when she was saying, Nick told me what to say, I didn't know what we were going to do. And Nick told me what to say. Bullshit. You already had that story. You already came up with that story. You want to know how I know? Because you already told his friend Allie like a few hours before the murder. And I've got the text message. Let me bring it up. I got the text message. Let me see where it's at. Oh, that's not it. Let me see if it's down here. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. I don't know. I don't know where I put it. Maybe I forgot to bring it up here. I'll have to bring it in the next one. I'll have to have it in the next live. There's a text message between her and Allie. It's at 1:30. It's like an hour before Nick gets to the house. So she's texting with Allie, Nick's best friend. Nick's on his way to driving to the house. And she's telling Allie, they're pretending like they're not murdering Dee Dee, right? And Gypsy's like, oh, I'm running away from home. She's telling her the story. Gypsy already planned the story before the murder is what I'm trying to say. I wish I had it here. Oh, I thought I brought it up in here somewhere. Is this it? Here it is. Hold on. Let me move this. I got it. Here it is. June 10th, 1:30 a.m. Okay. So the murder supposedly happens around 3 a.m. So an hour and a half before the murder happens. Okay. Gypsy is texting with Nick's best friend, this Allie girl, right? And Allie says to Gypsy, what is going to happen when your mom finds out? And Gypsy writes, she kicked me out. She kicked me out. That's why he's here, to escort me back to Wisconsin. Okay? Gypsy, you already had this story planned. You already told the story to Nick's best friend, Allie. Nick didn't come up with this story. Nick wasn't in charge of this murder. You were. You were 100%. Okay? And I know it just seems like kind of a little thing, but it's the little things that add up in this case. When she's trying to make it seem to this guy, well, yeah, Nick told me, once we're getting arrested, Nick's like, just tell him this. You're going to tell him this, Gypsy. No, Gypsy already had that story. She was already telling Nick, hey, if we get caught, here's the story. All right. I'm going to like end it there for right now because we've been going over 3 hours and I want to get to some of your comments and remarks before we go. I promise you we ended it here. We're an hour and 22 minutes into the interview. We've got a little under an hour to go. I hope you guys will join me in a couple of days. We can finish this up. I've got all of the receipts ready for the rest of it. It gets really funny at the end because we start going into Ken and Ryan and all that shenanigans. So you're not going to want to miss that. But let me go ahead and get to some of your comments before we go here. See if you guys have anything else you guys want to say. Okay, did I do this one? Did I show this one? 611 Insomniac, member for 5 months. R.I.P. Dee. Thank you so much for that. Yes, R.I.P. Dee. And May 8878 coming in with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you, May. I'm so glad you're here. We got Dazed and Confused coming back. Member for 7 months. She is so full of shit. Another person who doesn't do their research before giving this asshole a platform to speak her lies. He should be ashamed of himself. Hope everyone is having a great night. Dazed and Confused. I love you. Thank you so much. We are having a great night, and I'm so glad you're in chat. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone else up here. I hate to miss people. Beth Cooper, no. Okay, yeah, I'm good. Okay. Next up, we've got May coming back with $4.99. May says she thinks she is slick telling these lies. She is dangerous. People that are close to her need to beware. Yeah. They won't know what hit them. I agree with this. We've been kind of saying this for a while, but yes, definitely. May, thank you so much for the $4.99. Next up, we've got our favorite Zombie Pirate 23, hey, who also gifted one Becca Scoops membership. That's so nice of you. Thank you so much, Zombie Pirate. And here we have one of our favorites, Harley Quinn PDX. Thank you for being a mod, Harley Quinn. You say it's so frustrating that people still see her as a victim, even after everything that has come out. That's why I'm on the truth train. We need to expose her. And we are, Harley Quinn, and we are getting somewhere. And I really thank you for being here. And thank you for modding for me. And next up, Styles 5484, member for 1 month, says she definitely had a writer of what to and not ask. So yeah, like a writer means like you're saying like in the interview, right, Styles, that you can ask about this and you can't ask about XXYZ, right? I think she definitely had one. There's no doubt about it. Next up, we've got Natty G, member for 5 months. Natty G, how you doing? So glad that you're here, Natty. And we've also got Accidental Genius, $46.54, $1.99. Becca, when you get a chance, can you read my email? Yeah, Accidental Genius, I will. I promise you, I will totally get back to you. Thank you so much for being patient. I really appreciate that. Next up, we've got Snowflakes and Fireflies. Snowflakes and Fireflies, how are you doing? I love you. You write, I reported the episode 4 misinformation yesterday. Oh, good. Thank you for that, Snowflakes and Firefly. So glad. You guys are always on top of doing this stuff. And it's like, I just love this community. I really do. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Did you guys see, by the way, the other thing I wanted to tell you guys, speaking of reporting things, Snowflakes and Fireflies, is all of the comments on that interview, and there was over 5,000 before I went live. I could not find one nice comment out of 5,000. If this interview would have happened 2 years ago, most of them would have been positive. So if you guys don't think we're not doing anything, go look at the comments. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got 661 Insomniac. I think that's right. 5 pounds. We're all witnessing a pathological liar in action, and she has no care that we know it. Yeah, she doesn't care. No shame. No shame, right? She doesn't care. I agree with that. Totally agree with that. Next up, Funerary Girl, Canadian 279. Gypsy thinks she is living in a Disney movie. She is. I went over those fantasies a couple videos ago, talked about how she really lives in this fantasy world, that she has to live in a fantasy world, and that she's owed. The other thing is that she is owed a fantasy life. One of the reasons she murdered her mother, I think, she believes she's owed this fantasy life. And her mother was getting in the way of that. And she couldn't have that. Nope, couldn't have that. Next up, Snowflakes and Firefly coming back with the pound 99. She's cried more about her hair than her mom. Yes. Even the people in jail. I remember the one prison inmate. Oh, there goes Keekins. All right, Keekins. Talked about how the one county jail inmate saying I've never seen her cry about her mom at all. And the girl found it weird. The girl found it bizarre, you know? All right, next up, Dazed and Confused coming back with $10. She killed her mom, took away the rest of Nick's freedom, used Ryan, trapped Ken with a child, tries to compete with Mia. She is the definition of evil, people, are chess pieces in her game. She's vile. You know what? I couldn't have said this better myself, Dazed and Confused. Wow. Very powerful statement. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Next up, we've got Taminator. Taminator, where you been, girl? Thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you for the update. 7,000 comments on the podcast. I dare you guys to go find a positive one. I don't think there is a positive one. Almost all against Gypsy. Exactly. Look, like I said, 2 years ago, they would have been mostly positive. Today, she can't. Can you imagine her going and reading those comments? And I'm not saying it's just our community. I'm not saying just us, but I think this community had a hell of a lot to do with turning the tide on public opinion. I really do. I believe that. And more to come with that. One last one here, Zombie Pirate 23. Wow, that is so generous. Thank you. Who gifted 5 Becca Scoops memberships. Zombie Pirate, you are so kind and you are so generous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. All right, guys, I can't say I'm not tired. I am tired. I am tired to put all this together. It was a labor of love to do it for you guys. I want to thank everyone for being here and joining me on this live stream. If you're picking this up on the replay, I want you guys to check out the comments and comment below if you're here on the replay. I will be finishing this interview. I have a lot more to go over, a lot of receipts you guys are going to want to see. It's going to get really good when I come to the Ken and Ryan stuff. It's very interesting. But yeah, we're going to get into more of the crime. I will go over the Barney stuff, the bed stuff, like you guys want me to. I will be doing that on the next live stream. So I hope you guys will join me for that. I really love doing the reaction with the live chat. It's really, I think it's better that way. I hope you guys agree. All right, guys. Becca Scoops is tired. Keekins has left the building. And I guess that's going to do it for me. I love all of you and I cherish all of you and I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much to the mods. That's going to do it for me. Becca Scoops out. Good night, guys.